Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Oh, yeah! Here we are! Friday!
That's what I'm talking about.
Friday.
Heck yeah.
TGIF. Is my mic in a good spot? I don't even know.
You sound good, Bull. You sound
do?
good. G. Bush still got to get hooked up.
I feel like Steve didn't look at my mic. He usually inspects my mic today, but today he didn't. Maybe he did. Was I not paying attention when you did it? Okay.
He said you weren't paying attention.
I
yeah.
was.
There we go.
This happens sometimes. Guys, how are we all today?
Bye week, baby. Feeling good. Relaxed. Can't
Browns
lose.
can't lose
I
this
know.
weekend.
I love it, man.
Friday in Cleveland, the sun is shining.
Cavs are amazing.
Come on now.
Browns
Talk to me, Mike.
Browns won a game.
Keep coming.
Got like 2 weeks off. Oh, still riding that Cincinnati win. Gets to still feel that high. Beating Joe Burrow. We own that man for some reason.
Have we ever had a better stretch of weather late October, early November than this?
No, we have not, because
It's been unbelievable.
flowers are still blooming.
It's amazing.
They don't know when to go dormant.
It's supposed to be 80 tomorrow.
It was like for
At
Halloween.
least there's one positive of global warming. The planet's going to blow up.
It's cold.
At least it's hot in November.
It's cold, rising temperatures and icebergs melting.
So Florida's going to be underwater. Who cares?
Yeah, we're up here. We got water.
Polar caps out of here.
We don't get tornadoes. We don't get hurricanes. We get none of that.
Halloween trick or treat though, like even outside, it looked like a movie trick or treat. Like the kids, there's leaves blowing down the street and stuff like that. You know, we've had some rough ones. It's usually like an Indians home opener where it's like freezing and snow and everything.
43 and cloudy.
But it was charming. It was like a Norman Rockwell painting.
It was.
It really was. The whole. So it's gorgeous.
Mike says it's Norman Rockwell.
Yeah, it's true though. It's true.
Yeah. All right, lot to get to today, guys. We'll talk about the Cavaliers in a little while, who are on the start of an interesting 5-game road trip. It's really their first long road trip. They go to Detroit tonight, and then they play the Lakers, the Clippers, the Kings, and the Warriors, all coming up over the next 8 days. So it'll be an interesting test for them. We'll get to that later. Also, we're going to do Fence Riders in just a minute. So later in the show, we're going to be joined by my favorite teacher, guys. This is, I don't even know how did this originally come up that we were going to bring him on? I don't even remember.
I think it was late in a Friday one week. We were just talking, and somehow Jay was like, I'd love to know how Bull became Bull.
Or
the upbringing of whatever happened in his childhood. And you were like, well, I still talk to one of my teachers. Maybe we get him on one day.
I specifically remember it. They was arguing over something, and he was like, I would hate to see when you were younger. He's like, were you this way when you were young? He was like, I've always been this way. He's like, as a matter of fact, the reason I am like this, you can even ask my teachers.
Yeah.
One of my teachers even knows this is where I started off at.
Yeah, so my favorite teacher is a guy named Ken Brown, who's now retired.
And you stay in touch with your grade school teachers.
We connected. I think how we reconnected was, first of all, my mom's a teacher also, so they knew each other a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Through the teacher grapevine in Brooklyn. And he also had my sister as a student. But I had him twice. I had him in the 4th grade, and then he became a 6th grade teacher, so I had him again. And he was a great teacher. He was the only male teacher in our elementary school. And I always really liked him a lot. He was the one teacher that stood out. I got a jacked up memory because for experience, because when I was 18 and then again at 23, I had 2 seizures.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I actually had 3. I actually got hit in the head with a softball when I was 13 years old. Probably was throwing 90 miles an hour. Side of my head, I was out cold.
Wow.
And then at 18 to 23, I had seizures. So a lot of my experience memory is jacked up. And like I can't tell you the name of one teacher I had in junior high or high school. Not one teacher. It's like all screwed up. But anyway, it's really weird. But I have memory for like, I could tell you lineups of basketball teams and baseball teams.
I've seen you.
Right. That stuff I have a crazy memory for. But my experience is gone, a lot of them. So, but anyway, the reason we kept in touch is because when I was working in New York City on the Fan in New York City part-time, he heard me, and somehow we reconnected that way. And since then, over the years, we've texted from time to time. So anyway.
See, I feel like we learned more, and this is your favorite teacher, I assume, who liked you. or else he wouldn't be doing this.
Absolutely.
But I think we'd learn more from a teacher who hated you and that you hated, if you could remember any of their names.
I can't remember any of their names.
Because this guy's just going to come on and blow smoke and talk about how
awesome I am.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. I mean,
we're going to get to the dirt, though.
Probably many of the teachers that hated me are dead. I mean,
like
not by your own hand.
That was really morbid because I was sitting there thinking, I was doing the math. I'm like, okay, I know I'm younger than Bull.
Yeah.
But I'm about to be 41. So say if they taught me when they were 40, it seems right. I'm like, well, hold on. That means they're 80.
Yeah,
they might be out of here.
And it's still weird calling my teacher Ken because he was Mr. Brown. You know?
Right.
It's so weird, but he's probably late 60s, maybe. I don't know exactly how old he is.
So I got a preview for you guys.
Yeah.
So we're going to guess later in the show which one is Bull in this picture. But
for
5 seconds, Steve, real quick, this is your first glance. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, drop it.
Oh man, I got to get up there.
We will come back to that. That is your 5-second sneak tease of what's to come with Ken Brown later. Bull sent me a bunch of pictures for a montage for him.
Yeah.
What an interesting looking dude. I can't wait to talk to him and get to learn a little bit.
That was like a loaded almost compliment that you just said. That means he's a weird looking guy.
Some of the pictures were in like the mountains, somewhere in like valleys. Like,
so he's active.
It seemed like one was at a beach
he's
overlooking
better
a
shape than I am.
sunset. Yeah, he definitely more active than you, Bull. No offense. Even at 68 or whatever he is now.
The problem with that picture, and what's going to be tricky about it, is that it's old as hell.
Right.
So it's like not digitized completely properly. True. So you guys are all a little fuzzy, like Liz Taylor towards the end.
Right.
So I'm gonna have to get up near the TV and like really do some research.
They only show you your little elementary school pictures for 2 reasons. One, if you're missing. Two of you turn into a serial killer, or a profiler needs to understand who you were.
Yeah.
That's the only
Best
way
case scenario, you'll never see those grade school.
This is a rarity that we're not doing this for
unless you're on a sports show
missing.
looking back retroactively, or if you're missing or kidnapped or in the woods somewhere.
What's the criteria again? Only if you're what?
If you missing, you're being profiled.
Yeah, because you killed someone yourself in the woods.
Or
he was totally normal.
Or you're in a trial. And they're doing a montage on like what happened to you, bro.
Exactly.
He was started off as a good kid.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So this will be different.
By the way, there's one other kid in that picture named Joe Solomon. We used to call him Sloppy Joe Solomon, which was a little insulting. If we found that kid somewhere, I don't know what he's doing. He's my age. He probably hates me. I mean, maybe at this point.
Shout out Sloppy Joe Solomon.
I don't know what he's doing. He might be dead.
This is the first public shout out Sloppy Joe Solomon has ever gotten in his life. And we should, Bull, if you could find a way, maybe Ken Brown knows how to get in touch with Sloppy Joe.
I don't know, man.
But if we get in touch with Sloppy Joe, we'll send him
When I think of Joe Solomon, I think of like Pigpen from Charlie Brown.
That's why. So his name was Sloppy Joe because he literally was like a slob.
No, hold on. Now, this guy could have grew up with a complex. Everybody called him sloppy. He couldn't get no wife.
No, I was not a bully. I don't think we ever actually called him that to his face.
Right.
My good friend and I would call him.
He's watching right now, sharpening a knife.
He can't
remember
one name. He can't remember one name of a teacher.
Right.
But he remembers Sloppy Joe.
I remember Sloppy Joe Solomon. I think I remember half those kids. There's a girl in that picture that I had a crush on. Her name was Emily
I'm not
Bound.
pulling it back up to the end. We're not
Emily
giving these guys
Bound.
any more chances.
That was my first crush in the fourth
I'm going to
grade.
guess who that girl is, too.
All right, you got to guess the girl. Okay, I don't know what she's up to. I think she's like a trainer in L.A. or something now.
Oh, all right.
It's kind of crazy. That I remember. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to some fence riders here. Enough about that for now. Fence riders, Mikey McNuggets. What's going on today? No Anthony today. We got Earl.
No Anthony. We got Earl in the booth. We got Director Steve. We're going to do a little fence rider questions. And the Browns are off this week. So we decided this was the perfect time to do a little overall NFL preview, turn our Fence Riders game into some around the NFL stuff. And before we start, I want to say, when I sent these questions to Polk, he always answers.
Yeah.
I got the answers and good questions from Polk. So
they were good questions.
Proud of ourselves.
I thought these were good questions this time.
Mikey,
I agree. I thought they were good questions.
Mikey, remind me when DeQuell comes on. I have a special question for DeQuell.
Special question for DeQuell.
We're covering the NFL here.
Okay.
Okay.
I got a question for Sloppy Joe if he's listening too. I just want to know what he's up to.
All right, we'll go from Sloppy Joe to Sloppy Offense. The first question here on our Fence Riders game is, will Justin Fields have more rushing yards than any Dolphins running back this week? Pretty split decisions here.
Okay.
Let's see the answers. Brad, the only one on the panel that says yes. Steve, it's coming.
It is. It's there.
There we go. Jason also says yes. The rest of you three plus Tyvis say no, a Dolphins running back will outrush Justin Fields.
Let me tell you why.
I'm listening.
Have you been watching?
I have.
He's been on a tear.
I know.
He's on a tear. Justin Fields is on a tear. And I haven't seen. Michael Parsons couldn't track him down.
Yeah.
So what are the Dolphins going to do?
He didn't need to track him down. They were up by 30 points.
Right.
Only for a minute. That was at the end. They were
For a
coming.
minute.
That is justifiable.
Hold on.
It's a justifiable choice. It was, but I mean, there are a couple of games where he ran for like over 80 or something like that, and Miami has no decent running backs. I get it, but I just think it's unlikely. Just look, I'm taking the odds on that one.
Yeah, I mean,
a running back usually.
Fields is a running quarterback, but I think the Dolphins are going to have a big lead, and he's going to have to try to throw the ball. They just acquired Chase Claypool to try to be able to throw the ball a little more. I think it was a bad trade by them, but whatever.
You just don't think they're ready for him?
I just don't think you give up a second-round pick for a middle, just an average wide receiver. But anyway, he's better than what they had.
Yeah.
So, all right, fine. But so Raheem Mostert of the Dolphins is a decent back. He didn't have a good game last week.
He's not bad.
Right, but exactly. And I think what's going to happen is I think the Dolphins are going to get up big and they're going to run a lot in the second half.
See, at some point, I always look at the Dolphins, look for the Dolphins to turn back into the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So this is 1972.
Well, maybe.
Paper tiger.
This is not 1972.
I agree with you, but I think that happens against a better team than the Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Dolphins. They got two receivers.
Yeah, they do.
They have not been. They have not lost to Tua. Has been under center
When he's played the whole game.
when he's played the whole game.
Yeah.
They got Raheem Mostert. He's doing his thing. I think, and then they got some people at the trade deadline. Who did they got a defensive end? Sorry,
Bradley Chubb.
Right, they got Chubb. I like the kid from Miami, number 15. He's a decent defensive end. He had 10 sacks last year.
Jalen Phillips.
He had 10 sacks. I like him.
I did hate seeing them pick up Chubb before we play them. I wish they would have. I wish that was not the case.
Dolphins are the Dolphins.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, Mikey.
Still living on
Before we do
72.
that, just so you guys know, Justin Fields averages 53.4 rushing yards per game.
Mostert.
Raheem Mostert, 54.6. So within a yard. So it wouldn't be.
But I don't think Mostert, like the first couple of weeks, had that many yards, right? Or did he?
I'm not sure. Mostert has 452 on the season. Fields has 429. So within 20 yards. All right.
So it's a good
Question number 2. Will Joe Burrow have twice as many passing attempts as P.J. Walker in the Bengals-Panthers game? Only one of you guys said yes, and that person is Brad.
Yes.
Brad. I love
I
it.
didn't say yes.
Contrarian.
You sure about that?
You said no.
Well, listen.
I must have made a mistake.
Burrow
My
going to
bad.
crank that thing up.
Yeah, Brad's the only one that's right here.
They're going to crank that thing
What
up.
you mean?
Brad's. I screwed up. I should have.
I'm going back to double check, Bull. Hold on one second.
No, I think I screwed that one up.
He's going to throw twice as many. You're pretty certain of that.
Yeah, well, here's what I think. Like, obviously, Burrow and the Bengals were hideous against the Browns.
Yes.
There's no denying that, no defending that.
Right.
But they had played, and I know they didn't have Chase, which is different. Than but they had played great before that.
Right.
The Panthers are much worse than the Browns, even though the Browns weren't playing.
Yes.
And so I expect Burrow's been getting killed this week. Mm-hmm. So I expect him to come out and kick ass this week.
Right.
And I think the Panthers are a P.J. Walker, who I've been making fun of Baker.
Yeah.
P.J. Walker's played well, but he's an undrafted guy for a reason, generally. Guys that are undrafted at quarterback are generally undrafted for a reason.
Yeah, but here's the funny thing. People in Cincinnati, they turned the heat up on Burrow.
On Burrow is stupid. That doesn't make any sense.
Wasn't you just in the Super Bowl?
Right.
I know, it's
Aren't
ridiculous.
you the Bengals?
I know. It is amazing.
That's ridiculous. He had a bad game. There's a good quarterbacks have bad games
Now,
sometimes.
does it say he's going to throw for twice as many yards?
No,
Or
just
more attempts.
So if Burrow throws the ball 42 times, that means Walker has to throw 2
Oh, it was
more.
just attempts.
Yeah,
Attempts.
Okay.
that's
Attempts.
not.
That's
that
why I
happened.
did say no.
And I
My
did
bad.
look, and you said
Yeah,
no.
because they're going to go up big in the first half, and then they're just going to keep handing the ball off in the second half to
They don't
run down the clock.
They don't
right?
love running the ball because they haven't run it well. But
I
we'll
mean,
see.
40 is a lot of throws.
Yeah. And he's going to be playing from behind, too. So I would assume that he would. I mean, that'd be pretty crazy.
Maybe 34, 35.
Yeah.
So for the record, Walker, just so you guys know, did throw the ball a ton last week, but it did go to overtime.
Yeah.
He only threw the ball 17 times and 11 times in his first 2 starts.
right.
So
Forgive me for not knowing this.
Because they're going to control the tempo here, right? They're not going to be stupid here out there in the
So they started with quarterbacks this year. It was Sam Baker, Sam Darnold, and Matt Corral. Didn't they have him?
Yes.
Yes.
And then Matt Corral, is he already out? Did he play?
He's a rookie who got hurt.
He got hurt. So then they had to
Darnold's
bring
hurt.
this dude off. Like
Well,
just
he had been there
He was like a
before.
practice squad kind of
Yeah,
guy.
he played for them a little last year.
Wow, what a carnival of sadness
I mean,
that.
yeah.
the
Did you
greatest quarterback in XFL history, too.
Really?
There you go.
He led the Houston, whatever they were, to like a 7-0 record before it got shut down by COVID.
I wonder here. I don't wish bad on anybody, right? I wanted to work out for everybody.
Agree to disagree.
I wonder if Baker regrets the position he took here, right? Because he could have sat in the second chair here.
Yeah.
And parlayed that, right?
Yep.
He ain't parlaying nothing now. He done.
Yeah, well.
Right? I mean, you talk about a serious pay cut at the end of the year if you want to hang around this league. A serious pay cut.
Honestly, Jacoby Brissett's played a lot better than Baker has.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm glad he behaved that way. I'm glad he's gone.
No,
Right.
I mean, at this point, some people is who they are, right? You know, some people would rather see the world burn. Not saying that he's one of those guys, but some people stand on the principles they believe in. Like they just not gonna bend and break. That's just who he is. So he gonna leave it all out like he do it, like how he gets down.
Let me tell you something. The real world pay less than the pro world. I'm gonna tell you that now.
And here's the reason.
Did you hear The Rock say? Supposedly, I don't know if this is actually true. Somebody tweeted this to me. It could be made up, but it's not that big a deal if it is. But it's funny either way. So somebody said that The Rock said he'd be a perfect fit for the whatever is the XFL. The Rock?
XFL.
Yeah, that Baker be the
Baker
perfect number one pick in the XFL.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, dude, look. Somebody said it. He is a more functional Manziel. And when I heard that, everybody was like, "That's disrespectful."
He's Manziel without the drinking
I
problem.
mean, he's a better player than Manziel.
Yeah, of course he is,
but
100%. But
no, he's better.
He is.
I mean, hey, Manziel has some
Even
games.
I'm not going that far.
Manziel had a couple games,
Let me
bro.
tell you, he could have parlayed that to before they wouldn't even got to the mix. If he had just told the line, and just said all the company things that need to be said here, they wouldn't have got Watson. They wouldn't have got Watson. They would have stayed with him one more year and played it out. They would at least
Well,
all he
didn't happen.
All he did was open the door for the nonsense. Now he's sitting in Carolina. He got to be sitting at home.
Now he's a backup.
Him and his wife got to be sitting at home like, what happened? It's like me when I got off the plane in Seattle.
What just happened?
What did I do?
Ain't nobody come visit.
It rains here all the time.
Somebody gonna pick me up from the airport? No, dog.
Baker's still got his commercials, but that's about to run out because nobody's paying him to do commercials anymore.
You know, the Baker thing is true. He probably would have a better contract last year if he just didn't play this year, right? Like he would have because we'd still be living in the memory of 2020.
Right. Yes.
He had the injured 2021 year. He'd have a billion Baker bros.
Yeah.
You know, we'd still have our buddy Jason over here still saying, if he could just get his chance, man.
I think even Jay's done.
That's the
But he had not seen him. If he had not seen him, if we had not seen it's the real, like the actual real Baker that that a lot of people assumed was there, we'd still have the idea of what he might be, and he could get a contract off the idea of what he might be rather than what we saw he was.
Last comment, almost the most damning thing about Baker is that, as I said, an undrafted P.J. Walker with no talent around him because their best player, DJ Moore's a really good player. But that's it.
Yeah.
Their best player, Christian McCaffrey, got traded.
Right.
At least Baker had McCaffrey. And P.J. Walker's played decent football these last 3 weeks.
I'm going to find out the name of I'm looking it up, the name of the XFL team that P.J. Walker came from and took Baker's job.
It's Houston something.
Oh, my God. He knew it.
All right, question number 3.
Question 3, Mike.
Will either team in the Patriots-Colts game score at least 24 points? Very split answers here. And for the first time, G and Polk are on the yes side.
Yeah.
Paul and Brad, you guys say no.
We're together here.
I mean, the Patriots put 40 on the Browns, like 2 years in a row, bro. Like they gonna score some points.
You can't count that.
Stevenson is a nice back.
He's playing really well.
He playing well. They got a couple receivers.
Did you see the Patriots?
Hey, the Patriots don't play bad twice in a row, 3 times in a row.
Man, who said that?
Hey,
the Patriots offense outside of the – it's funny. We've talked about the last 2 years, the Bengals have just been destroyed by the Browns.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Patriots and the Browns, except the opposite way.
Yeah.
Like, even though the Browns weren't as good last year as the Bengals were, obviously, but the Browns played their worst game against the Patriots.
Exactly.
And so far this year, their worst game against the Patriots. I don't trust either of these teams' offenses.
All good things come to an end. The Indians had a number of sellouts here at Jacobs Field. That came to an end. The Bulls had a number of sellouts in Chicago, so it comes to an end.
Yeah.
Right? Stop living in back there with Brady, right? Did you see the Patriots the last time? They look like hot garbage.
Yeah.
Hot garbage.
But their defense doesn't look great either, so somebody might just accidentally. Both of their scores, they're both dancing around 24.
Again, hot garbage.
So just takes one of them.
So the line is 24, right? So the Patriots scored 21, 20, 6, 7, 17, 30, 26, 24, 29, 38, 14, 22.
So only 3 times, I think, over 26.
But you got 2 teams, and only one of them has to.
Yeah, only
but
one of them.
I think both teams are decent defensively. Decent, not great.
Yeah.
And I
Both
think,
teams are decent defensively and not great offensively.
Yeah.
So.
Neither team's got a quarterback, in my opinion.
I'm just going statistically. If one of them,
They just dogged Matt Ryan, didn't they?
Yeah,
He's gone. And the guy who filled in for him sucked.
I like
It's the Houston Roughnecks.
Roughnecks.
Yeah, that's who took Baker's
job. Turned on Matt Ryan like 5-6 games to the season.
See, this is why all these people was running around here. Good luck with that. All these cats was telling you, Deshaun Watson, there's no way you can get him. Listen, there's no way you take it, bro. Look who's playing. All the dudes that could have been guys that we would have took, Matt Ryan, sit on down. We just talked about Baker, chill on out.
Russell's been awful.
Russell's been horrible. All the quarterbacks in New Orleans ain't no good.
No.
All of them.
Your boy in Green Bay ain't looking swell
Rodgers
either.
ain't looking.
No, we're talking about him. He's been awful.
He's throwing it like me, though, for the most part.
I think is Aaron Rodgers trying to get traded?
By the way, am I crazy, or is Andy Dalton actually playing better? Not that he's any good, but is he actually playing better than all of the guys we just mentioned?
Probably
Well, he did throw 2 picks 6 in a row against.
Yeah.
But he's won some games with them. They destroyed somebody last week.
They beat Las Vegas last week bad, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
They
right.
played well, but before that they lost to the Cardinals. I don't know if he's playing better.
Does that hurt your heart to see your old boy?
No, I think
Hey, your
he's
boy,
Rocket.
you miss your boy down in Arizona. He's sucking too today.
Kyler Murray.
Oh
he's
my
not.
God! I'm like, what's wrong?
All right,
with you?
question number 4.
The people that got
We're
the
going
money,
from
they look
2
bad.
teams that struggle to score to 2 teams with winning records. One doesn't. Will the Bills cover a 14-point spread?
Oh, it's not 14.
Yes, it is.
I look at it today. I think it's like 11 and a half, 12.
Well, we sent the questions out. It was 14.
By the way, are the Jets the biggest home
underdog for a
that's
plus 500
team that's 5-3 or better ever? I mean, it's got to be.
Yeah.
It's got to be
5-3. They're at home. They're a 2-touchdown underdog.
That's crazy.
That's gonna get killed.
When we sent the question, it was 14. I'll check what it is now.
I think it's like 12, but
let's see the answers. G and Polk said no. Brad says they're going to get smoked.
Smoke.
yeah, I agree. You guys don't think the Bills will cover, huh?
Like in the cigar.
By the way, the Eagles didn't cover last night against the
smoky in
Texans.
here.
14 points is a lot of points.
That's a lot.
St. College.
Man,
That
Let me
ain't,
tell you
bro.
something.
That's crazy.
14 points, G. Who under center?
Yeah.
Who's under center for the Texans? They covered against the Eagles.
Well,
It's 12.5 right now, according to
them
ESPN.
the Eagles.
Yeah, games tend to even in lopsided games like
Have you
this.
ever noticed that Philly in every sport underachieves? The Phillies were rolling. Everybody's like, Philly's gonna roll this thing on there. Philly's about to get rolled.
The Phillies were a huge upset to even be in the World
Yeah,
Series.
I
They didn't underachieve.
No. If you listen to the people in Philadelphia,
they crazy.
They're biased just
They
like our
crazy.
fans are
Well,
biased.
why would they think they're gonna smoke the Astros? The Astros the best team in
And the
baseball.
series is not over. I
No.
picked the Phillies in 7. I don't think it's over. But the Phillies have overachieved this year, and so have the Eagles.
No. Here,
Yeah.
Phillies have overachieved.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the brass tacks, they're getting smoked out of here. Gone.
I
Goodbye.
mean, it's 3-2. It ain't over yet.
And I'll just go back to the history of Philly.
But they just won those Super Bowls.
They won the Super Bowl.
Stop playing with
The
me.
Phillies have won the World Series this century.
Listen, I can't talk about nobody. I ain't sniffed. I ain't
Yeah.
even seen the AFC
If I
Championship
had,
game.
if I had payrolls like they had in all their sports,
Yeah.
right,
Well, but
I
football and
guess-
basketball, it's an even playing
I
field.
guess I'd be like, I'd be expecting a little bit more.
Baseball a little different.
Yeah, baseball's
Football,
different.
Man, I was playing when they tried to run Dr. J out of Philadelphia. They tried to run him out of there. I never saw it before.
That's Philly. They kind of crazy.
They really are.
Now, by the way, the Bills have not beaten have not smoked very many teams. I mean, they beat people by 14.
They crushed the Steelers.
They crushed the Titans 41-7.
And the Steelers.
They beat the Rams 31-10. Actually, they is killing people.
Yeah. What was the Steelers score?
Steelers score is 38-3.
I like what you watch.
But
the Jets lost their best player.
But
their running back.
But they
The
only
two best players, arguably.
They are home. They only lost to the Packers 27-17, 24-20 to the Chiefs, close game. 23-20 Ravens, close game. They lost to the Dolphins 21-19. So they got some.
So what did Denny?
Yeah, but those are all good teams.
What did Denny Green say that day, G? They are who we thought they were. Right?
Yeah, the Bills is a good squad.
You need
but
to
the
watch.
Jets have been playing well, though.
You guys all need to watch sometime. Speaking of Philly fans, you know Bill Burr, the comedian?
Yeah.
There's a famous clip of him at a live show, like it's for an Opie and Anthony terrible outdoor show, outdoor comedy, always a huge mistake. It doesn't work out.
Right.
But and the crowd is just, they were ruthless. They're hammered. It's late in the night.
Yeah.
And he just owns them for like 15 minutes and just tears up Philly, Philly fans, makes fun of them for their biggest accomplishment being Rocky, a fictitious character. That's
By the way, it is funny at the Phillies game, like when there's a big moment with two strikes, they always play Rocky music.
Yeah.
All right, Mikey, number 5.
Worth watching that clip, Bill Burr, Philly.
I need to get that.
Number 5, we got 2 more. We'll bring the Quell on. He's ready, so we're going to run through these pretty quick.
Yeah. Yep.
Will Cooper Kupp have more targets than the rest of the Rams receivers combined against Tampa Bay? Split answer here. Bull, you're the only one on the panel that said yes, so you go first.
Dude, the rest of the receivers are trash.
Sure.
Cooper Kupp.
More targets than everybody combined. That means running backs, tight ends, and receivers. That's not happening.
No, just the receivers. It was him versus the rest of the receivers.
Just receivers.
Yep, I still think that.
I bet he's averaged more than the rest of the receivers combined, hasn't he?
If he has 10 targets, that's astronomical. And they got like 4 other receivers. If they just get 3 targets apiece.
Yeah, but they're not. He don't throw to those other guys. He throws to Allen Robinson a little. And the rest of their receivers are up.
Yeah, but they're all picking up 3, 4. They're all going to get those.
Not.
All right.
I will see. And
he has 28 more targets than anyone else on the team.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp's going to get more than 10 targets, most likely. He might get 15.
By the way, he is coming off an ankle injury, too.
That's true. I'll give you that. All right, last one.
All right, last one. We'll bring the Quell on. Will Derrick Henry rush for half as many yards as Patrick Mahomes throws for on Sunday Night Football?
Absolutely not.
One person said yes. That person's not here right now. It's Tyvis. So let's just tell Tyvis why he's wrong.
Because they need to be doing this math questions. Half is a lot. Half is 50% more. Like, no, you're not going to get that off.
Well, how many yards do you think Mahomes is going to throw for?
Let's say 300. That means
Henry would have to have 150. I mean, that's reasonable.
He ran for over 200 last week.
Yeah, but
it's rare.
They're more likely to be behind in this game. They're a big underdog.
Yeah.
And but the Titans are the one team. Even the Browns don't do it, and we complain about it.
And we'd be pissed off that they don't. Go ahead and say it.
The Titans are the one team that even when they're down, they keep running the ball.
And guess what? What's their record?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good record.
It's a good record.
Now, they don't win in the playoffs.
No.
But they have a good record.
They get to go there.
But they get to go. They don't sit at home.
I actually think Tyvis could turn out to be right, but I actually think Mahomes is going to throw for more than 300 yards in this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked either way.
So,
that was one of those. That's why these are good questions.
Yeah,
Mikey.
they're good. Good questions, Mike.
The last time these two teams played, by the way, Tennessee smoked Kansas City, if you remember. It was 27-3. Mahomes threw for 206 yards. Do you think Henry had half as much as that?
He did not.
He had 86.
206. You still got to get 103.
He ran the ball 29 times for 86 yards that game.
Bad day.
Before we get to
and they still won by 25
Before we get to the Quell,
points.
shout out to Amazon. The 4K picture is just outstanding.
It is.
It's outstanding.
Well, that's not an app. Well, yeah.
That's
no, it looks great.
What a difference. You had that game and the World Series both in 4K last night.
Yep.
Well, at least on DirecTV, the World Series was on 4K.
They've been robbing y'all for years. They've been giving us 4K TVs, but they don't do nothing.
There's not a lot of programming.
But they don't broadcast it.
Well, unless you have DirecTV has a few things. Netflix and Amazon have stuff in 4K. That's about it.
I'm going to tell you this. So
and Disney has 4K
Amazon has
stuff.
just put the pressure on CBS.
Yeah.
ABC,
Yep.
NBC, ESPN, because Now I'm seeing the game in 4K.
Right.
I don't want to see the game the other way.
Well, it's a huge difference for people that don't have it.
Amazon is buying which one of them teams?
And they're getting crappy games, too.
Shaq said he didn't want to compete against Amazon.
Bezos might be buying Washington.
Look,
and
shout out to Amazon for having Megan Thee Stallion on last night.
There you go.
Amazon still sucks and they're evil, but there you go. But I love the 4K.
Megan Thee Stallion last night.
You can't
you get the game, you get Megan.
Yeah, we got one thing real quick before we bring DeQuell in here. As we've mentioned before, we are now offering special membership programs, and part of the reason this is so cool is we do a lot of stuff that just isn't seen on camera. Before the show, after the show, we're talking. We can't film everything, but now with this overtime content we are offering to our coaches tier members, it gives you a chance to interact with us and be part of those conversations and get a chance to have your comments and voices heard when we sometimes don't have time in the show to actually feature them. So, your support is invaluable to us, and we appreciate each and every one of you guys who
for the coaches tier
comes on the journey with us.
The coaches tier is less than $60, is under $60 a year, and you get the bonus. We're doing bonus content every day. We're not taking away from the free content that you're all getting. We're adding bonus content every day. We do a show, we'll have bonus content. We're going to do some other things along the way outside of the studio.
Yeah, and you can tell us some stuff that something weird you want to see us do.
Yeah,
we're talking a weird Q&A with us or something like that.
We did it yesterday, straight Q&A. And today's topic was straight from the audience as well. And here's my favorite part about this stuff.
Yeah.
Is it helps us hang out with guys like DeQuell Jackson, who is our all-time number one favorite. I can't even tell if he's here, if his chair's turned. Did he step out, Steve? Let's take it. No, I think he's there. I see a peek. Uh-oh.
Old school.
What's up, fellas?
You can still wear your helmet. That's a good sign.
Well, it's going to be hard taking it off.
That's always the tricky part.
Well, wait a second. Why should it be? What, did your head get bigger? I mean, what happens?
That happens, dog.
Your head gets bigger?
Sure. Head, face,
get older.
legs, arms, all
your nose and ears never stop growing.
Well, I just get bigger because I'm eating so much. But
sure.
I'm assuming DeQuell has a better diet than I do.
Hey, DeQuell, before we get started.
Well, at times.
Yeah, right.
DeQuell, before I get started, I had a question, right?
What's
up with your boy Richard Sherman on Russell Wilson? I mean, what is going on here? We got some black on black crime going on here. Stop
That's
playing
what's
with
going
me.
on. Every time I hear him talk about Russell Wilson, I don't know what's going on with their relationship, but clearly there's something deeper than we all know about. Even when you watch, especially so when he covered the Broncos this past year. Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Clear
he
beat.
could not.
What's up with it?
I mean,
it was so obvious that he has some.
I mean, what is going on here? I mean,
it's very weird.
It's weird.
It seems like people now. I know I'm not no stranger to this. I admit I take pleasure in Baker sucking this year.
Sure,
but that's just me. When it comes to Russell Wilson, it seems like across the country, people are taking a lot of pleasure in him being bad. And Baker, to me, acts like a jerk sometimes. But Russell Wilson doesn't ever act like a jerk. What's people's problems with him? I don't get it.
I heard he's a bit more of a jerk than people let on. Is
behind
that true,
the scenes,
DeQuell?
maybe? I don't know. Doesn't it seem like a lot of people are taking pleasure out of him sucking?
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Russell Wilson, honestly. And now all of a sudden you hear just, from, guys just taking shots at him. Maybe they're still mad about the Super Bowl. I don't know what actually went down. It happens. You can't win them all, but I don't understand it, honestly.
He got good hair,
really
He got good hair. He got good facial hair. And his wife is bad, and he makes millions more than everybody. I'm sorry, bro. There it is.
That's the obvious.
Mikey says he's got a reason for it. Go ahead.
I don't necessarily – Sherman and him obviously have beef from their time in Seattle, but I can speak for the general internet culture of today. Wilson's not a jerk. He's just corny. And when someone's over-the-top corny, they're such an easy target that anyone who thinks they can make half a joke just latches on to it.
Nah, Mikey, we're going beyond this because,
Sherman's different. I'm not saying Sherman. I'm saying the overall general.
It's Pete Carroll, right? It's a bunch of people,
well,
right?
Pete Carroll, I don't think he said anything publicly.
Oh, yeah, but he's done some snide things. He's not the guy that does it in your face. He's the guy that when you walk out the door, he's throwing the knives in your back. That's who Pete Carroll is. Right, but Sherman every week is something on this thing. I'm like, I gotta ask my boy Tyvis. Hey. I said, what is the deal here? I said because
Tyvis is the clue.
Yeah, because I'm like, if you don't have, just be quiet. You talking too much.
Right.
You got your own baggage.
I try to. You know what it is, man. Hey, these dudes. Now, here's the thing. Now, Russell Wilson, he's a nice dude, because if you was on me, I'd be ruthless. I'd be like, now listen, Richard, I saw you in the news the last year, Richard. See, I do a couple TikTok videos. He'd be completely upset, but he might actually come see me. I don't want no problem. And Richard, if you watch it, I don't want no problems. Then don't you word up on me. I will say that I have mental issues and fake a seizure. I will fake a seizure in a heartbeat.
I've seen him do it. I've seen him do it
right in the grocery store.
Yep.
My arms will go down.
That's just an interesting story.
All right, that was my question, DeQuell. I just wanted to know what was going on, because
I wish I had a better answer for you.
Now, Brad, see, when you sit in that chair, that's the derailed chair. Yeah. Like that chair, if you sit in there, that's the hot topic chair.
That's right. DeQuell, let's get. I mean, it's your first time on with us since the Browns actually looked like a good football team. Right. I mean, after playing like crap for so many weeks, they looked phenomenal against the Bengals. None of us, even if you thought the Browns might win, nobody thought it was going to happen like that. What did they do differently? How do you explain how well they played this game?
Yeah, well, the biggest, the elephant in the room was the defense, right? Like, all season long, the offense has played winning football. Jacoby Brissett, we can nitpick when he's played well versus when he hadn't played so well. But for the most part, we knew they were going to run the football, they were going to control the clock, and they far exceeded our expectations as far as from an offensive standpoint, they were efficient. Defensively, I think the difference was, maybe the second play of that game where Del Pitt makes a play at the line of scrimmage. And immediately, in my mind, I said, you know what? Those guys are dialed in. They're ready to play. And as a linebacker, a D lineman, when you see defensive backs making plays at the line of scrimmage, that means those guys are ready to play. And it's contagious. From one play, it just kept adding up. They kept putting series and series together where they were dominating a really good football team offensively. Again, they were without Jamar Chase, but they had some other quality guys on the outside that can get the job done. I think the difference in the end was, even the late touchdown on Greedy Williams. He was in phase. It was just the offensive player made a better play, but it wasn't blown coverage. Everything was matched. Those guys were playing hungry. And I think in terms of having gap integrity, playing great run defense, it started with those guys on the back end. And when those guys get involved, man, I tell you, I can't say it enough. It is contagious, and everyone was playing like the ASS was on fire. And you love to see that. They play with energy. They play with sense of urgency. And honestly, Joe Woods, he didn't blitz a ton, but he blitzed more than we've seen in the past, and I think that was a difference maker.
DeQuell, I'll tell you this. This is what I saw. I saw the fact that, I know JLK was out, and I still have hope for him.
Okay.
But I will tell you, when you had Taki, Isaiah Thomas, they were playing more traditional roles, just sitting in the holes, like doing what you're supposed to do at the linebacker position, right? Which allowed Clowney and Myles Garrett to get uphill on somebody, right? And then let's talk about this. When Myles Garrett is locked in, DeQuell, he said when he did his first little dance, people didn't catch the first dance. He was doing the Thriller, the Michael Jackson Thriller. I said, you pulled that one out from the 80s.
Yeah, and to that point, Brad, the other guys stepped up. Guys who I forget who was it, who got his first career sack. His name is slipping my mind right now.
Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas. Yeah. He got his first career sack. Other guys made plays, and it's contagious, man. When you start playing well early, and you got a momentum going, and your offense is moving the ball, and you're physically dominating a really good football team who you had beat the previous year, who, by the way, ended up in the Super Bowl. That's going to give you confidence, thinking, you know what, if we can play with these guys and we can dominate them, we can turn out our season around at any point. I didn't see it happening. I thought after 7 to 8 weeks of the season,
we're pretty locked in.
You know what? You are who we thought who your record says you are. And defensively, what a great way to go into a bye week playing as well as you have. But I'm gonna throw a little curveball. I'm still not letting Joe Woods off the hook just because you had one great game. Guys came to play and you got them all on the same page. It could be a little too late, but for right now, you gotta be a prisoner of the moment. You gotta like where the Browns are offensively and defensively. But this season is going to get a lot tougher. In the next few weeks, and hopefully you get when you get Deshaun Watson back, he's not going to be clicking on all cylinders. But at least your defense is playing. They played a game capable, comparable to the talent on this roster.
DeQuell, bigger picture, right? Like, you're right. Like, I feel like as fans, we're very prisoner of the moment. If our team plays great this week, we love our team. Then they play bad the next week, we're like, they suck, right? Like, look at Cincinnati fans. Bengals had won 4 or 5, They have one terrible week. Their fans are like, Burrow sucks, and Taylor, everybody, all fan bases are like this. This is not unique to any one city. They're all that way.
Right.
But here's the thing. Like, obviously this year, Kansas City, Buffalo, Philly, those teams are playing well pretty much every week. And there's a few teams on the bottom like Carolina or Houston or Detroit that pretty much suck every week. But there are 26 teams in the league, roughly, that you really don't know what you're going to get from week to week. And as someone who played in the league as long as you did, explain to me how this happens. How could a team like the Browns look so awful against New England, and then so great against a much better team in Cincinnati? And they're not unique. This is all over the league. How does that happen?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think there's a ton of parity throughout the league. I think it becomes a motivation standpoint. Who's leading the ship? What type of message is the head coach, resonating with the guys on the roster? Has he built a rapport with these guys? Is he speaking the same language as these guys? And quite frankly, before this last Monday night's game, I thought at some point I went back to my Rolodex of what was happening during those tough times when I was playing with the Browns, when I had great leaders up there motivating us regardless of what our record was. And I immediately went to Eric Mangini. Eric Mangini, what he would do, he was very connected with special ops, the special ops community. And he would, at that point, he started bringing in people that can inspire his team. He stopped talking. He took the mic out of his hands and he shifted the attention towards, the armed forces. And they would come in and tell us just crazy stories and just to connect with us about sacrifice, about commitment and discipline. That, in my opinion, is the difference maker. Once you get to the middle part, the thick of the season, you can expect, guys who've been in the locker room, you can expect what the head coach is going to say before he even opens his mouth, based on whether you played well or not. And it becomes redundant. And when you start to change the message, you get new energy, you get new, urgency. And I think that's what Kevin Stefanski probably went back to the well and was like, you know what? I need to stop talking. I need to be, connected behind the scenes, but you need to hear a different voice. And I don't know that happened, but whatever happened in that locker room, with my experience, that typically can, interject some juice into your ball club for at least a week or two, in my opinion.
You were talking about how it's contagious out there when the defense is playing well, then you see one of your teammates make a play, you want to make a play, you realize you can do this. I've always talked about how important the psychology seems to be of this. These are young men and who believe that maybe they believe in luck, they believe in vibes, they believe in all these things. How important is it for them, especially right now where they have this bye week where you got 2 weeks to think about this stuff? You remember these times.
Right.
What's the difference between going into a bye week like this when the season's on the precipice, knowing that you just won a game compared to how different is that vibe in the locker room over this time?
Yeah, it's scary because you finally put together, in the Browns case, they finally put together a complete game. With the roster that, Andrew Berry and the Browns have come up with, we thought they should play a lot better. We saw that Monday night against the Bengals. And now you have a bye week. So now everyone's like, oh my God, I hope no one gets in trouble. I hope we can come back with the same focus. I hope guys are gonna. It's a long season. You just added, the season is a lot longer. So guys are gonna have to blow off some steam. You'd rather do it earlier than later. I would tell guys in the locker room, listen, if you're gonna, blow the doors open, do it on the earlier side. Don't wait till the last couple of days before you have to come back and try to rush to get back in shape. But just do something. So you're worried that because this team is so talented from a roster standpoint, because they've underachieved all year, you finally put it together, you're worried that you're going to lose that momentum, to the point of the psyche of a team. This team is, they're not old men, they're young people. Yep. So they're easily influenced at times. So it's going to be very important. Coach gets them back in that building. Understand it. Listen, we have a job to do. We're very close. We really played a good game, and you don't want to lose that momentum. But it's a tricky time. You know, as much as it's needed. Listen, I love my bye weeks because I got off my feet. I did nothing. You know, I may have, sweat a couple days, throughout that week. But, again, it's going to be very important for these guys to come back ready to play mentally as opposed to physically.
Hide Myles Garrett's keys. Hide Myles Garrett's keys.
Uber. Bull asked a question. He said, how can you be so high one week and you can play a certain way, but the next week you play horrible? How does that happen? Well, from my standpoint, there's one or two ways it happens. Either you weren't ready to play that game, or your game plan for that specific team was trash. And one of the things I always look at is the Browns play well when they are aggressive, when they have some sort of wrinkles, when they come after people, when they are closer to the line of scrimmage. When you said Delpit made that tackle, I thought the same thing. It was a 3 to 4 yard gain, but Delpit tackled him solo in the box. I said, I ain't seen you in the box.
It got run over.
It
got run over and threw his body in the fray. And it was a heck of a play. That showed me, you know what? I'm selling out for my teammates. I really want this. And when you see energy like that, it's contagious, man. And now you want to be the guy that everyone looks at, throwing his body around, giving himself up for the team. And it just galvanizes everyone. And Myles Garrett had a great game. The others, I call them the others, they stepped up and made plays. So that week to week, it's tough because and again, I know I've probably, hammered this point more than I need to, but leadership, having guys who understand the length of the season and the amount of mental stress it puts on you, you have to do things to kind of keep yourself juiced up. And that comes from being self-aware as a player. What are some of the things I need to do so I can come out week in and week out and be sharp? Because physically, you're gonna be in shape. There's a lot of parity throughout the league. It's the mental aspect of the game that's the difference maker, in my opinion.
Hey, DeQuell, I gotta go this way because you talked about being prepared and heading into the bye week and having a chance to revive the season. I gotta I've been on Stefanski about his game planning. I had to give him credit, because today, on Monday, he actually used his total arsenal, right? He was very intentional. It appeared to me he was very intentional about what he was doing. He was making sure that Kareem Hunt and Chubb got the touches, and he held Jacoby in a box, in a box that gave him a little bandwidth. And the running game, when we played it like that, and he didn't go away from it, he didn't shy away from it. He stayed with it, right? And that I hadn't seen that here out of him in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, listen, at some point, if you're going to get fired, listen, some guys are stubborn. We're going to do it the way I do, my scheme says I'm going to call plays. I'm not going to adjust to my personnel. He's finally now adjusting to his personnel. You have very capable. One thing that I noticed out of that 20 personnel set, when Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb are in the backfield, have we run from that set at all season?
No.
I don't know if we have.
No.
It's been 100% pass. So the next iteration of that will be, let's wrinkle in some runs. Let's really, use this as one of our lead personnel groups and really really force the defense to say, what, do I go base personnel? Do I go nickel personnel? Either way, you're going to be lighter in the box. So I think it's something that, again, you start self-scouting yourself. And this is what the Browns need to do right now, which I'm sure they are, self-scouting from a defensive standpoint, offensive standpoint, special team standpoint. What are you doing that are allowing other teams to really hone in and not that aren't allowing you to be successful on, all three phases of the game? So I'm sure they're doing a deep dive in that regard. But I would say this, maybe it's just me, but when I watch Myles Garrett, as great as he is, why aren't we using him like an Aaron Donald? Why aren't we using him to, expose, the interior weakness of an offensive line? I think that, I don't know if that's one of his strengths or not, but you have so much talent up front when you're ahead, when you're controlling the possession, when you're controlling the clock, when your run game is going to perform and show up week in and week out. I think, you got to get creative, and that's just the way the new NFL is, the new success of the NFL. I think that's one of those primary factors. But I agree with you. I do give credit to Kevin Stefanski.
Right.
He threw a wrinkle in, and guess what? It was effective.
What you did, see, you've been stealing my notes. You've been stealing my notes, DeQuell. I saw you in my window the other day in my study. I was in the cave, and I said, Myles Garrett need to have that stand-up 3 technique. A stand-up 3 technique. And they like, hold on, bro. He already 285. Then he stopped lying with that 260. I seen Myles Garrett in public. I stood next to him. I said, oh, you in the 280s. That's the next evolutionary. That's the next evolutionary step. When he loses a step, which may not happen, they're gonna just say, "Hey, we're gonna kick you down to 3 technique. This is gonna be a problem for these guys. Come on down there. Him at 3 technique.
It's like when LeBron moves to the 4.
Oh yeah, like you're right. That 4, and they wanted to post up, where LeBron was like, "I'm still the 4, but I still dribble a lot."
Yeah.
So they get him at 3 technique, and he's rushing upfield like that. Oh, it's a problem. You can run everything up there. It's a problem. I haven't seen Clowney and Garrett on the same side of the field yet either.
No, everywhere he lines up, if he's on either side if he's on the left end or right end, guess what? They're going to match up where he is. The back will be opposite of Garrett, and the line is going to slide to him. And you know, we've seen it time and time again. Or you slide to Garrett, or you put a tight end over there to chip him, and you put a. So it's when you put him in the interior of an offensive line, then you forcing the center and both guards to really understand, you know what, my attention is going to, needs to be towards Garrett. So now you can create one-on-one matchups and run games with Jadeveon Clowney and some other guys. So, and I thought Deion Jones, he showed up. He showed up. Taki showed up. So you got guys that can play behind the line of scrimmage. It's just you got to get a little bit more creative. But that's me just nitpicking and just understanding when you have talent. Let's not just line up like robots, man. Let's make it very hard on the offense to dictate where you're going to slide the line to and how we're going to, stop a guy so effective as Myles Garrett when he's able to pin his ears back.
Speaking of robots, often fans because fans don't know the players, right, generally. And so fans think of players, they don't think of the person. And this is every sport. This is not just football.
Yeah.
And, early in the year,
there characters on the screen.
Right, right, exactly. And, in our business, we end up meeting players and getting to know people, and if you have that experience as a fan, I think it changes how you think about the players you're watching play. But earlier this year, there was some rumblings, DeQuell, about some personal stuff going on for Denzel Ward. Obviously, I'm not going to say what I heard because it wouldn't be appropriate. And it really.
Will you tell me what you heard later on?
Sure.
Great.
But it really.
Yeah, tell me too. 'Cause I don't know.
It's not. It's just a general thing, nothing like specific. Right. But it had me thinking like, we don't, even someone like me who's been around a lot of athletes and knows people like you and Brad and G. It's like, but you don't think about because nobody thinks about if I'm going through something personally. People that are watching the show, they're not thinking, does that affect him? But the same thing. Sometimes guys just don't play well, probably. Because something in their personal life sucks, right? Is that a big thing?
Look at the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, Tom Brady. He's going through a divorce, and we've seen him. He hasn't lost 3 games straight since 2002.
Yeah,
and can we say it was because of marriage? We don't know, but I tell you what, you play a lot better when all the other off the field issues are a non-issue. Right. And when things are happening outside of your control, whether it's family dynamic, divorce, whatever you may go through, we're all human. And that's a great point that sometimes we lose track of that because we get so consumed with, our players and we want to see this team play well. But that's a good point. But that's something that comes with it, right? And nowadays, guys are a lot better prepared to deal with things of that nature because the culture is changing. Listen, this mental health aspect of sports is a huge component of young athletes from a very young age. And I'm sure Brad never even thought of, that was not a thing back then. It was either you play or you don't play. No. So the landscape is changing.
They didn't give a damn what your problems were.
Mikey McNuggets has got something for you. Go ahead.
Nicole, we haven't talked to you since the deadline passed, and on Tuesday, Andrew Berry said they were close to acquiring a player. Let's take this tag board full here from Adam Schefter. He tweeted this morning, one of the main reasons Houston was unable to trade Brandon Cooks was because it wanted a second and fourth round picks in return for him. No team was willing to trade a second and a fourth and take on Cooks' $18 million fully guaranteed money for next season. We saw Deshaun Watson quote tweet something from Cooks right after the deadline passed. Do you think that might have been the player Berry was alluding to as someone they were close to acquiring? And do you agree with their decision not to make any move at the deadline?
Man, I mean, listen, I was looking for them to make a move that on a player from a defensive line standpoint that I hadn't heard of. That was a really great player that can come help this team, generate pass rush. But I wasn't even thinking from a skill position. Now, I don't even know if we have the picks to even give away right now, to be quite honest with you. But no, I don't think
that's why they didn't do it.
No, that's too much to get. Cooks is a nice receiver, but I'm not getting – when the Browns already don't have first-round picks, I'm not giving up that.
I'm just saying when he played with Watson and then Watson's quote tweeting him, there definitely is some sort of connection. They were talking in some sense.
I don't know, DeQuell. I don't know what you think, but I think DPJ has stepped up big time this year. I think he's playing really good football. What do you think?
No doubt, no doubt about it. Given the opportunity, when the ball's in his hands, he's made great plays and he's come up with timely catches, and that's what you need. And let's see more of it. And unfortunately, we have two great running backs that we have to give them the ball. And so those guys have done extremely well, in my opinion, been consistent, in my opinion, given the fact that we're a run-first football team and they don't get a ton of opportunities like most of these other teams when you throw the ball at least 35 to 45 times a game.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have been making a move for Brandon Cooks. I mean, there's a slew of quality receivers coming out of college this year. Slew of quality receivers. Because the $18 million fully guaranteed for
he's not a difference. $18 million.
Nice receiver.
I can't have $38 million wrapped up in two wide receivers. I just cannot do it.
You know who else is making Donovan Peoples-Jones look great, though, is David Njoku. Like, taking the pressure off of, like, having him as that other option.
True, but DPJ had a good game last week without Njoku. Against the Bengals, he played well. He caught everything his way.
What I'm saying is they have options now.
Yes, you know especially with Njoku. Those two guys have stepped up.
It was just Landry. We always knew if he was throwing, it was going to Landry.
You can tell Donovan Peoples-Jones has elevated his game.
He has, no doubt.
He was looking like trash.
And so has Njoku.
He was looking like trash in the beginning.
Njoku, too, has elevated his game.
But I'll tell you from DPJ, he wasn't even on anybody's radar screen here, right? And so now he is becoming more than just serviceable. I mean, like, you making plays.
In fairness, if you look at us before
David
the
Bell,
season,
I'm still looking.
I know. But if you look at us before the season, all we were saying was, I wish we would have gotten another wide receiver.
Yeah.
But we haven't been complaining about that.
It's not a problem.
In fairness.
DeQuell, what did you do?
Would you have gone for, like, knowing what watching the Browns all season, what move would you have made in the trade deadline? Like, what player, what position? Oh, yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're on the same page.
There was reports that Deron Payne from the Commanders was
I'll take him.
I mean, he's a good player.
I'll take him.
He'd be their best defensive
Right, he's a
tackle,
former first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
He's a solid starter in this league. That would have been a great pickup, but I think you would have had to pay him a ton of money.
Yes, definitely.
I got you. See, they talking about they want to ask all these sports questions. I ain't trying to hear that right now.
Yeah.
That's cool. Let's get into that real talk. Let's get into this. I was going to ask you about Kyrie Irving, but I'm gonna set that aside.
Well, I'm talking about it later in the show.
Let's talk about Thanksgiving is coming up. Me and Bull are fat boys, obviously. Me and Bull, we eat all the food. Do you have what's on the menu? What does the DeQuell household, the Jacksons, do for Thanksgiving? What is a must? Do you got people coming out of town?
I know it's classic. I know it's cultural. I know it's interesting.
Listen.
You guys hunt a pheasant or something
No,
like that?
no. I don't have time for that. No.
All right. If you don't lay this track down right, I'm let's see what you got.
Let's see what you got. What you got?
So ever since I've had a privilege of tasting deep fried turkey.
My man, there he is.
Deep fried turkey.
That's number one.
That starts everything off.
That starts everything off.
Hold on. You injected that puppy?
My wife, she does all the time. I just
Cajun marinade in that puppy. Keep
all
it
of
going.
it. All the things, Brad. All the things.
Keep it right. All right, you're on a good track. Keep going.
See. So, green beans. I love some green beans.
So you got green beans. That's your greens, right? Do you have a
macaroni.
second meat?
Oh, ham. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, go to ham. Okay, too.
Absolutely.
We good to go. Got you.
I thought that was a given. I didn't know I had to even go down that route.
2, okay, ham. So you got turkey, fried turkey, you got the ham, you got the green beans. Now let's get to these sides. These sides are
stuffing.
These sides is very important.
Sprinkle in some prime rib before we get to the side.
I do prime rib.
You got to have that's right.
So here's my thing. Like, my wife makes a really good macaroni. We don't let no one else bring macaroni. It has to be really good macaroni.
You can't touch everybody macaroni and cheese, boy. Cannot.
Oh man! And my wife makes a really good what do you call it? Oh my God! It's got breadcrumbs and
stuffing.
Oh my!
Green bean casserole.
No, it's like it's a casserole, but it's like a sweet casserole. Oh my God! I cannot.
It's all right. Relax. Don't beat yourself up over this. We'll figure it out.
No, because we're finalizing this menu right now. Yeah. It's a thing. This takes a month to really narrow this thing down, and based on who's coming over, who's bringing what.
You got the good rolls.
Is it rolls or cornbread? Which one you eating?
We do both. We do both.
All right.
We do both. We definitely get. I got an auntie that can make a really good cornbread out here, so we have her bring that over every year. But I love my rolls.
By the way, we do fried turkey also, and I don't make it. So shout out to my man Byron Sabry, and I can't, Byron, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your last name.
That's my wife right now.
There you go. Byron's a buddy of mine who cooks a fried turkey for me every year.
That's dope.
Well, that's a good friend.
He brings it over to my house.
Yeah.
He's amazing. He had a baby recently. Shout out, Byron. And then
you're not off the hook. Still got to fry my turkey.
Got to make my turkey.
Man. Congratulations.
In fact, I got a text him.
This is very serious.
Call his wife. And then we go prime rib also. I didn't know prime rib was a thing. Brad mentioned prime rib too. I do prime rib all the time. I love prime rib.
Little ham, I'm frying the turkey. I'm doing the thing.
He's doing everything.
Watch my man.
You gotta have it all.
What is it?
What's the casserole? The sweet casserole that you make?
Oh
yes. Well, I don't know how I forgot that sweet potato casserole.
Listen.
That's a necessity. That's almost as important as the turkey.
That is
almost as important as the
Does
turkey.
anybody eat cranberry sauce? I don't like cranberry.
Yeah, cranberry sauce is delicious.
It's more ceremonial.
I gotta have it.
She got mad at me. She was like, "What? Sweet potato casserole? Don't disrespect me like that."
That is
shout out to DeQuell's wife.
Yeah, she out there.
I just like that he's I'm on this sports show. What's the side dish that we have with this?
Don't be serving no crab cakes up in Maryland either. That ain't what's happening on Thanksgiving.
I like crab cakes.
That's
not for Thanksgiving.
I like crab cakes anytime.
But that's
so wait a minute, G. Bush, what you got for me? What's your side?
Listen, so here we go. So listen, so basically, I've been telling my mom, I shamed her. I said, listen, you let my grandmother leave up out of here, and you didn't get the recipe for none of them. She do the greens. She got the sweet potato pie. I said, listen, you didn't do what you were supposed to. You dropped the ball. 90 years, nobody else. Where are my lady? All the women folks, you let that go through the cracks. They got mad at me. I was at the kids' table for like two Thanksgivings, but it was cool. Yeah. But we got
disrespect the kitchen.
Disrespectful. You doing too much, bro. So we got the fried turkey as always.
Yeah.
Now, I no disrespect to anybody's ham, but you not listening. You ain't had no ham. Unless you with the honey baked ham and got that ham, honey baked ham with that
glaze,
torch glaze,
It's pretty much just like candied meat.
I almost fought my dog.
Yes,
but nobody said this though.
What?
You got to have the yams.
See, the candy yams. You forgot about that.
Yams gotta be right.
So we got potato salad is always there. There's gonna be green beans.
Yeah.
There's collard greens.
I'm starving.
Collard greens, but you gotta have some meat in them collard greens. Don't have no plain greens in here. We don't do that. Where's your pot meat? Then we gonna have cornbread. We gonna have rolls. They're Hawaiian rolls though, but you gotta go. You gotta go to the oven.
Yes.
And you gonna have sweet potato pie. You got a casserole. There's a little bit of cranberry sauce, and then the spotlight.
See, I'm not a big cranberry guy.
Me neither.
I don't like cranberry.
Now, this isn't pilgrim time.
My
Let's get that off the
grandmother used to
table.
make fried potatoes.
And then stuffing.
By the way, I am Grubhubbing us all Boston market right now.
All right.
I am getting hungry. So.
Well, great talking with you as always, buddy.
No, Bull, I want to hear your menu really quick. What's your must-haves?
I do fried turkey and prime rib.
I'm coming over.
Okay.
I might have to do the prime rib. I might
Prime rib
have to do
was a game changer. There was one Thanksgiving we didn't even do turkey. We just did prime rib.
No,
listen, I love prime rib too.
Prime rib is the best.
Do you have a weird specific side dish that
Like,
your family
a Jewish dish do you eat?
No,
there's
not
no
really.
Jewish food on.
Thanksgiving's
Tell us about
not a
Jewish
religious
Thanksgiving,
holiday.
Adam.
No, but my grandmother, when she was alive, would make these like fried. She'd like slice the potato. She'd take like a red potato or one of those little white potatoes. She'd slice them
Them
into
is au gratins.
Well, she'd make the au gratin, but she'd also cut them into little slices, and then almost like French fries would fry them. And then she'd make this chocolate cake that was amazing. But I love stuffing. That's my side.
I'm with you both.
Yeah.
And
We call it dressing.
DeQuell.
The dressing, right?
If y'all never tried this, I'll bring some back.
Yeah.
My aunt makes the best cornbread casserole in the history of the world. It's a combination of cornbread and casserole. Now I say that, it doesn't make sense.
Okay,
it's so
what
good.
else would it be?
So
I was waiting for that. I was like, cornbread, casserole, what else?
It's so good though.
2 notes.
Yeah.
First of all, Peggy Polk, amazing chef. She just is. My mom does amazing stuff. I know everyone thinks their mom's a great chef.
Yeah.
But
My
even
mom's
my
not.
friends and everybody think that my mom,
Same.
they want to come over for dinner because the woman can cook.
Can cook.
But we've done fried, we've done roasted, all the typical stuff. We've done all that. But for the last 5 years, she's been doing a brine beforehand. She brines the turkeys. She gets 2 of them and brines them in a cooler. And I'm telling you what, guys, it is amazing. Second thing, my Thanksgiving tradition passed down from the German side of my family, my grandfather to my father. It's like a pate that's called goose liver pate. I know. That's what everybody says.
I love a liver pate.
It sounds really, and it is amazing. We only get it on the holidays. It's like a tradition like that. And my dad's just like, do you want to know what's in it? I'm like, I never want to know what's in this. Because if I know what's in it, I probably won't want to eat it. But it's like, that is our weird family Thanksgiving tradition. Goose liver pate. He gets it at some weird shop butcher shop that's just on the east side.
Probably he's probably buying it in the back of the room.
I don't know what it's made of.
By the way, I only eat dark meat. I don't eat no white meat turkey.
What?
Really? Surprising thing he'd ever said.
You love the dark meat.
I love me the dark meat.
Who is passionately dark meat?
Me. All right. I only eat chicken thighs and chicken drumsticks. I don't eat chicken breast.
Why? What's wrong with the white meat?
I don't like white
dark
meat.
enough for it.
It's not dark enough for me.
Wow.
Hey, Brad, I got one more. I got another question for Brad. Hey, Brad, when obviously after Thanksgiving is over, what do you? Let me ask you guys: do you do anything with the turkey after it's it's almost like a week out? Do you make sandwiches with it?
Hey, we sandwiching it up. We doing everything. We try to get all the use out the bird.
So the first day.
Hold on. Here go the other thing. DeQuell, who's doing the cleanup after the dinner?
Woo, man!
Cleanup.
I make sure I fall asleep early that night.
Tired. You can make turkey salad. You put the mayonnaise sandwich spread. You can make some really good sandwich. You gotta go get fresh bread for the deli. Also, they'll make turkey gravy and put it over some rice. That's for the next day, right? Then they'll chop it up. They chop it up very, very fine. You could put the turkey in some sort of meat or some sort of vegetable. You can put that either in your black eyed peas, or you can tell where I'm fat. This is why I
love it all, man.
This is why I play D-line and I got all this stuff. But the turkey, we get all that.
You have a lust for life.
Yeah. By the way, this is what my wife did once is the best. Use the turkey bones to make a turkey soup, like a turkey noodle soup.
Yeah, my wife does the same.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Anyways, these are our recipes. Please subscribe to our sports show.
Before you leave, DeQuell, listen. When you invite a bunch of people over, you know they bagging up plates to go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the plates to go.
You know what? We make plates for them ahead of time. These are your plates.
Last thing before we go.
He rationing them out.
Last thing before we go, DeQuell, what was the most fun thing you ever did during the bye week? Most fun thing.
Bye week. So you guys gonna think I'm a little bougie, which you guys always do at times.
Yeah.
But it's all good. So
I took fencing lessons in Milan.
Bougie.
Did you go to the ballet or something?
Bougie, baby.
No.
That's what we drinking today.
During the bye week, you guys ever heard of French laundry? The restaurant French Laundry is one of the best restaurants in the world.
That's where the mayor got
Naples.
busted. That's where the mayor of LA got busted for going during COVID.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sorry.
Learn something every day. But yeah, okay. Well, now it's not so fun now because Polk just kind of ruined my story.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You did.
Sorry.
Finished.
No, it's a nice joint though. It's supposed to be like a really nice restaurant.
It's too late.
No, it's a stinky joint. We love food. You get a great experience with food. So, yeah.
All right, DeQuell. Have a great weekend, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Sorry for ruining your bit.
All right,
See you, man.
Take it easy.
Go Browns.
All right, well, how you, bro?
They are going to give us, these people are going to give us a cooking show. We're going to pull, listen,
that might be the perfect kind of exclusive content for our members.
That's
Us
right.
cooking someday.
Mike had enough of the cooking talk about 10 minutes ago.
I'm literally, we're going to melt after the show,
true.
and I'm starving because I didn't eat all day, and now we're talking Thanksgiving, and your comment about only eating dark meat, well, threw me off the loop because that's...
The thighs is always better. He loves the dark meat.
No doubt. Guys, let's switch it up. Let's talk some Cavaliers here.
Let's do that.
I'm excited about this road trip, not because they're necessarily playing any great teams. We know Golden State's really good. They're just playing poorly right now. The other teams they're playing on this trip, Detroit, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Kings, I don't know if any of those teams are any good. None of them are playing well. The best record of any of these teams, believe it or not, is the Clippers at 4-4.
Right.
But, Brad, what I'm most excited about this road trip is seeing these guys out on the road together on a long trip for the first time, right? But also, when you play, even though these teams are not playing great, when you play the Lakers, you're playing against three guys, three that are potentially Hall of Famers, certainly two, and two that have won a championship, right? When you play the Clippers, you're playing against Kawhi Leonard, a champion, Paul George, who's a Hall of Famer. And then you're going to play the Warriors, Steph Curry, champion Hall of Famer, Klay Thompson, champion Hall of Famer, Draymond, champion Hall of Famer. They're playing against a lot of great veteran talent. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do that on the road and if there's any kind of nerves playing against some of these great veterans.
Well, here, the way I look at it is like this. Early in the season, I think everybody's trying to figure themselves out. I think the Cavaliers are finding their way as well as the other teams in the league. It's early. These are games. If you can win them, you try to win them so that you make sure down the stretch when playoff positioning is put into place that you don't hurt yourself or hamper yourself down the stretch. Tonight's going to be a little different, with them playing Detroit. You've got Garland and Donovan Mitchell, who are both questionable for tonight. Donovan Mitchell sprained his knee. Garland sprained his knee in the game against Boston, and Donovan Mitchell turned his ankle. So if I look at it tonight, I don't look for those two to go tonight because I've got the Lakers and the Clippers in the
Sunday, Monday
next two preceding games. So
let them rest.
I'd rather have them and take my chances with the Pistons and just see what I do with the Pistons because
Pistons have Cade Cunningham, not much else.
Right, so you want to sit here, you want to be healthy. The one thing you don't want to do is keep people, you already start out with Garland getting hurt. You don't want this thing to keep lingering on. Everything that always seems to be a thing. Yeah. Right, so you got to put them in healthy positions. But to your point, Bull, I just enjoy the ride here. Yeah. We're finding ourselves out. We're still finding out about ourselves, right? I think every game has been different. Each win has been different. The one thing that has been consistent has been this. Down the stretch, we haven't folded. Last year, we folded, right? And I think, again, it's the mentality of Donovan Mitchell and what he brings to this team is like, listen, relax. Everybody calm down. Yeah. And I think that carries over to the other guys. And I think Garland alluded to it in his post-game interview after the first game.
Mike, as watching that Cavs game against the Celtics, was it Wednesday? Right?
I was there.
Oh, you were there?
I was.
The crowd seemed on TV, and Mikey was there, and Anthony was there. They said the crowd felt like a playoff atmosphere. Did you feel that way?
It sounds generic because I heard that a lot too, but it really was. I've been going to Cavs games thick and thin forever. I was there during the lean years. I was at the Ricky Davis game where he actually tried to give himself a triple-double. I was at that game. Now, just to get in an empty arena where people just couldn't be less interested in the game. They just got some free tickets and stuff like that. And then I was there for those years where we were hopeful, but but it wasn't like it just didn't all materialize and they were okay. And I was here for LeBron years when we were sleepwalking through the regular season because the playoffs were a foregone conclusion. So the regular season just felt like we were just all hanging out and just waiting for the playoffs.
Right.
So even that vibe during the LeBron time in the regular season was not this electric.
Not even the first go-round?
No, not even for the first go. Once you had established.
So is this the first time since Daugherty, Price, Nance that
I remember the regular season being like so, and the season's young too. We're still meeting this team. We'll get jaded quickly. We always do. But right now, man, it was so loud in there that you can tell that it's actually affecting other teams. The other couple of other things that I noticed during this game is just how they are relentless about you just never feel like they're totally out of it. Even when they're taking like a little dip or something like that, you never feel like they just don't want to lose in a way that was very comforting to see. And they always have somebody else who can step up. You know, Kevin Love didn't do anything on the stat sheet in that game, but he was out. Like you can just see him bringing bringing a calm to that court and keeping everything under control and getting everybody pumped up at the right time. He's being a leader that's really admirable right now, and that is not showing up in a stat sheet in a way that I think. And I also think just having Rubio there on the bench is like watching him talk to these players, these guards right now, and talk them up and coach them up. I credit him big time for a lot of Darius Garland's just improvement over last year.
He's like the Yoda of the Cavs.
He really is, and he hadn't had somebody like that to tell him and to what and now he's like, it's like having an extra coach out there. And it was a really fun and exciting, and I look forward to going to a lot more of those games this year.
Let me say this. So I want to be clear about this. It's good to have Rubio back, but don't undersell. Darius Garland's father, Winston Garland, was a hell of a player.
Yeah.
A hell of a player, right?
Sure.
So he coming from the apple don't fall far from the tree. Mm-hmm.
Right.
What he had last year was the benefit of going down. Sexton going down, which allowed him the growth. The thing now is him to take the next step. In order to get him the next step, he's going to get that knowledge from Donovan Mitchell, right? Because Donovan Mitchell has been to the next step. Garland, and he alluded to it after the game. Donovan Mitchell has been places that they haven't been. They want to go.
Sure.
And the only way you learn that is when you sit there and you're under the tutelage of somebody. Now, what I saw this going down the stretch here, I was very keen to see how would Garland and Donovan Mitchell play together, especially after Donovan Mitchell had been on a tear. He had been on a tear.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
As it was going to relinquish the tear.
Yeah.
He relinquished the tear to give Garland room and space. And he still ended up with 23, 24 points. I said, here's the deal. And Garland did his thing. Now, the thing is, you're starting to see the commentary from across the country. Did you see Eddie Johnson? I follow Eddie Johnson. Eddie Johnson comment the other day was like this. He was like, I was keenly watching this Cavaliers-Celtic game. He said his thing to the final comment in his tweet was this: the Cavs are now a clear and present danger.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
well, Brad, let me ask you this. How important is it, right? Like, obviously, when Kyrie was here with LeBron, immense talents, but they didn't get along that well, and they were able to overcome it just because they're so good.
Right.
But generally, when you have two guys like this who are both want the ball to some degree, right? Mm-hmm. It's important that they have that good chemistry, good relationship, and it seems early at least that they really like each other.
You got to have it. Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, great chemistry.
Yeah.
Chicago Bulls team, great chemistry. There are plenty of talented teams across the board, and they don't really mesh and hang together.
Well, look at the Lakers right now.
Right? And so what happens is you get some success, but you get the total buy-in when everybody's tissue is connected.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you're an extension of me, right? I want to see G have some success. I want to see Mike have some success. I want to see Bull have some success, right? And I'm comfortable with you having success because it doesn't demean what I bring to the table.
Right.
That's right.
Brad, let me, and I just was thinking about this last night. I don't know how good the Cavs are if Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell don't play, right? Yeah. So if they don't play tonight,
we're going to see.
We're going to see, because then what happens is, now you got a guy like Karis LeVert that says, oh, it's my time to rock now. You got guys like Kevin Love that now he's a veteran. Okay, when I need to be aggressive coming off the bench.
How about that guy's name who we haven't even mentioned yet, Mobley, who is probably going to be an all-star this year and who is playing great and who we haven't even had to mention because we're not reliant on him as our number two scoring option. Right?
And guess what, Mike? If you look at him, no one's mentioned this. They say, well, he got to get, for them to be a championship caliber team, he got to get to another level. Well, listen, another level does not automatically mean points.
No,
right.
It does not.
If he get to another level defensively, and he say, oh, I clicked on. Now I know that I got another dude down there like Jared Allen.
Or passing the ball.
Yep.
He gonna be. I can back my guys up.
They don't need me to score 30.
They don't need me. I'm gonna be aggressive in defending. I'm gonna be aggressive on everything. I'm the middle wave before they get to the second wave.
Jared Allen has been Elmer's glue.
Yep.
He down the stretch against Boston. When I think Jaylen Brown or Tatum were going to the basket, he came with because I think Tatum thought he had a nice layup. He came. He's like, I'm coming to get that.
He timed that perfectly too.
He timed it perfectly, but Brad, he also got dunked on bad.
Yeah, well, you know,
let me tell you,
hold on, Mike.
No, I know it happens. I'm just saying he got one and then Tatum got him back.
You in that league, you gonna get guys.
No, I know. I'm saying he got Tatum once and then Tatum got him back.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Why? That's why it doesn't bother me because guys who ain't been in that league. Let me tell you something. I'm challenging you. I'm coming to get you, right?
Sometimes you'll win.
I'm coming to get you, and sometimes you're going to lose it, right?
Yep.
But the one thing I'm not going to be afraid of, this is what I hate to see, Mikey. I hate to see when guys bail out on it.
Yep.
No, you come get this.
Get out of the way.
Come get
I'm
this.
not saying I'm just saying he got him once and then Tatum got him back.
Well,
it was a
well,
good
here.
trade-off. Two elite, a guy who's an elite guy attacking the rim and an elite rim defender.
Let me tell you
they
something.
Met at the rim
I
twice
want you to
and
know.
each one
I
won
want
a
you to
battle.
know this. Jared Allen does his job here. You gonna get challenged down this pipe.
Yeah.
You coming down the pipe? Here it
Ain't
is.
nothing easy.
I'm gonna be waiting for you. Now the only difference here, Mikey, when like with the Pistons, they're gonna lay you out. Not only challenge you, but they're gonna lay you out. The rules don't allow me to lay you out now.
And you know the best thing about it is when Allen, see that next level when they start putting together defensive rotations together where you got to see Mobley, then you got to see Allen, and they start getting rid of that mid-range teardrop stuff, it's gonna be a problem.
This reminds me of late '80s Cavaliers. Because I'm gonna tell you who would challenge you.
I love hearing that.
I said. It wasn't so much Brad challenging you, but it was Nance and Hot Rod.
Hot Rod Williams.
Brad was clogging it up.
Yeah.
But Nance and Hot Rod, they come to get it, right? You wasn't getting no finger rolls around the Cavaliers down here.
By the way,
you had to finish.
By the way, Jared Allen, I know it's early. He's third in the NBA in offensive rebounds. To me, offensive rebounds is always about, like, obviously a lot of big guys get offensive rebounds, but offensive rebounds, Brad, isn't that a lot about hustle and want to and that stuff, right?
Your desire.
Right, he's just an animal on the glass. Yeah, he's just all over the place.
And I'm so encouraged because he's dunking everything around the rim.
Oh, yeah.
I want my bigs dunking the ball. Anytime you
He's
close,
trying to throw it down.
He's trying to. It just sets a mentality like, don't put your hand up here, dog.
It feels like they're one player away,
Right.
doesn't it? Like not a star, like a Jay Crowder we've talked about. They're one player like that away.
I think they're feeling themselves out. And I here, the one thing that I can notice collectively across the people I've come across in the city, people are happy about what's going on.
Yeah,
down
it's fun.
There. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. I think my daughter was there. My daughter was there against the Boston, and she was like, "It was great.
Yeah,
man. It was great.
Yeah,
to be
it
down
really
there."
was.
Right.
Obviously, the Browns were great on Monday. We'll wrap it on this, but for the most part, they've made people miserable this year.
Yes.
Whereas we
years.
went straight from the Guardians to the Cavs. The Guardians had a really fun season.
Yeah.
And now the Cavs are having a really
and
fun
all
season.
goodwill for both of them.
Yes.
And here's one of the main things, you guys just said it too.
Yeah.
This team's having fun. You can tell that they're
having fun, and we're having fun watching
We're having fun watching them,
Yeah.
and it's like if you get a chance to see this team, you should go and see them live too, because it's a blast. It really is watching them in person.
Fun stat about Jared Allen before we do top five.
Yeah.
G. Bush mentions he dunks everything. First off, I was Nets fan through and through. I love Jared Allen on the Nets. I love him on the Cavs. He's at the lowest field goal percentage of his career so far this year, G. And it seems like he is dunking everything.
Wow.
Which goes to show
what's
how
his field goal percentage?
57%.
Oh man.
He's career 64%.
Well, that's
going
going to come up.
That'll come up.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
57 is still high as hell.
It does feel like he dunks absolutely everything, and just it happens to be a little lower. So,
all right, Mikey, let's
we're
move
gonna do
it
a top
along
five
to
today.
top five. Yeah.
And did I tell you guys in the rundown what the top five is?
Yeah, it's the top 5 things to do on the Browns bye week, right?
Yeah, so this is a way to help Browns fans cope with the bye week. There's no football. Things that Anthony, myself, and Earl thought could really bring some joy back into their lives.
The Cavs are playing at 3 p.m. on Sunday.
They are playing, and they play tonight as well. So the Cavs is not on this, but you should always watch
Cavs
the Cavs.
have never beat the Lakers with LeBron.
That's ending this Sunday.
Right, that's what I'm saying. This is our best chance right now.
Let's go. All
right, so we have 5 things we thought we should be doing
They smoke him.
on a weekend without Browns football.
Okay.
Number 5, spending time with your family for the first time since week 1.
What the hell am I wearing? Look at me. I'd be a damn good-looking woman, I'll tell you that.
I've always said that.
Thank you, Mike.
No,
it looks like I am growing out of Brad's neck.
Mike's the mole.
Mike, it's like Brad has to carry you around on his back because you can't walk.
Hey, Bull, it look like your woman name would be Gertrude.
Gertrude, yeah,
there goes Aunt Martha.
Or Bertha.
Yeah, or
Gertrude Stein. My grandmother had a friend named Gertrude Stein.
Matilda.
That's unfortunate.
We should do top 5 names that don't exist
old school
anymore.
names.
So top 5 names that don't exist
Pauline.
anymore.
I like that.
Oscar. Oscar's coming back.
Oscar Gonzalez in Cleveland. Come on.
Oscar's coming back.
Rose.
That was my great aunt. Was Rose.
Esther.
Those are all Jewish
Oliver.
names, basically.
I think some of these are coming back as like hipster girl names.
Yeah. My grandmother's name was Minna.
And they dye their hair. They dye their hair gray, even though they're like 30.
Yes.
Yeah. What's your grandmother's names?
Ruby. Outdated.
June and Jeanette.
My grandma's Phyllis. There's no more Phyllis.
Oh, that's good
Oh
too.
yeah, Phyllis is a good one.
I'll tell you, I feel like you're naming old Jewish names, but I went to when I was a kid, I knew a lot of girls named Shonda and Keisha, and I feel like you never hear those names.
Because they got ran into the ground.
Yeah.
The Ishas, the Aishas, that just stopped.
Yep.
What's the weirdest name y'all have ever seen?
Weirdest?
Yeah.
Diabolique.
He hate me.
Diabolique.
Sir Anthony Dominguez?
Remember he hate
I
me?
do.
He hate me.
Wait, what's the guy's name who played for St. John's? Oh shoot.
Ron Artest.
No, not Ron. That's not a weird name.
You mean God Sham God?
What's
God Sham God's a great name.
Did he play for Providence?
He played for Providence, yeah.
I went to my cousin's graduation, and they were announcing like the list of graduates, and there was a Ladasha, LA-A. So that's the weirdest name I've seen.
Wasn't there a basketball player back in the day, or maybe he was a baseball player named Wonderful Mons?
I don't remember.
I'm always amazed by people who are named. I have a friend named Kevin Costner. I have a friend named Bob Dylan.
Oh,
like
really?
people who are named celebrity names after that celebrity is already in existence.
There was a sports broadcaster in Baltimore, the play-by-play guy for the Ravens, whose name is Jerry Sandusky.
No, that's terrible.
Oh, that's terrible. You got to change your joint.
Yep, exactly.
I know
it sucks when it catches you later in
Shalimar.
life.
Yeah. Number 4 there, Mikey.
Sorry.
Number 4. How about feel 24 hours of uninterrupted happiness? Just feel happy from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. No stress, no pain, no nothing.
That's stupid. Nobody's happy all the time.
I just love that you got him to pose like that.
If you got kids and family, you are not happy that whole day. Because you're gonna be doing some stuff you didn't really want to do. Because they know they planned their whole life around this day. You know the Browns ain't playing this week. Let's go to Cedar Point.
Yeah.
It's November, dog. We're not going to Cedar Point.
If Jason Lloyd ever goes missing, promise that we will use that picture to try and find him.
Absolutely.
All right, good.
Yes.
Number 3.
So this one we went back and forth on. This
By the way, that was
an
a terrible one, number 4.
Yeah.
No.
Would you let it?
Yeah, just let it go. We're not going to get number 3.
Yeah.
So this was an Anthony suggestion. At first I was like, I'm not 100% sure, but then I thought I have gone to West 6th on a Browns game day.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm convinced, Anthony. Let's take it.
It's something else.
24 hours of being sober. Curb your alcoholism, cold beer for a few days.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, you won't. You don't have a reason to be drinking on a Sunday.
Let me tell you something. The people that's drinking are drinking no matter what day.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
And that's not a thing to do.
They're going to be cracking on their fantasy
They
team.
toasted the sun coming up.
You think I can't find a different
They toasted
reason
Russell
to
Wilson
drink?
playing at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
There's always a
Little
reason
Rusty's
for people
playing
in
at 1,
Cleveland
have a
to get
drink.
drunk. Number 2.
Number 2, this is what I would like
I'm
to
like,
be
I
doing.
missed the Queen. That's what I would do. That's my excuse this Sunday.
This is what we all should be
one for the
doing.
homies.
Let's take it.
Going to church.
We should be crashing Jay's Aruba vacation. That is how we should be spending the bye week.
That's a good idea.
Honestly.
On the
Although he's
yacht
probably getting
with
home
Jay.
this weekend is my guess, right?
Yeah.
Although he's off Monday, too.
He's off
isn't
Monday too, so yeah.
Yeah,
Probably
somebody
getting back
check the
Sunday.
Spirit airline rate to Aruba right now.
They ain't riding on
Let's
Spirit
do it.
Airlines. Stop
We can
playing.
get down there for $80.
I'm gonna tell you what, man. That boy, he is a fish. He loves some water.
Who,
Yeah.
Jay? He
Yeah,
love
boy.
he love water.
I mean, I can't be on no water
He's
like
always
that
a
for
sea.
all that time.
I'd be
Just-
throwing up out there.
Loves
like,
being
what are
a
we gonna
sea.
do? We just looking at endless water?
Yeah.
I couldn't hang with Christopher Columbus. No, I'm cool. Find me some land, dog. I'm gonna stay over here with the natives.
Christopher Columbus was a dumbass.
He was actually a very bad person.
Yes, he was.
And
yeah,
a
very,
terrible,
very
and a
bad
terrible
person.
human being in addition to being
Yes.
a dumbass. All right, number
All
1.
right, number 1. The number 1 thing to do on a bye week for the Browns is watch the Steelers lose.
Yeah.
And find some enjoyment in
who are they playing again this week?
It doesn't matter. Watch reruns, watch new games, watch old games.
They're not even on my radar screen.
Yeah, I will. You know what? I've said this. I got such a disdain for the Steelers. Yeah. Sometimes I can't even ask a Didi questions. I just have to be like, okay, let me shut up. I got such a disdain for the Steelers. I don't never play a Madden franchise with the Steelers, even though they may be good. I don't even really wear black and yellow. I hate Wiz Khalifa. I don't listen to that's how bad I don't even go to Pittsburgh. I if I got to go through Pittsburgh, I just go the wrong way.
But you're missing out right now because this is our time. For people who hate the Steelers, this is why you should be watching, just like Mikey said.
They suck.
And we have the week off. We won last week in the division.
So what happens when they win?
Well, they might. It might
happen.
Who
are they playing, Mikey? I can't remember.
They're on a bye, so you got to watch old reruns.
Oh, they are on.
How do you put that number one on the list that they're on a bye?
I looked at the wrong.
That list was a major failure.
This list is bad.
It is a bye.
They're on a bye.
Because I got Najee Harris on my team. I was like,
he saw that, and he didn't want to say it. And if you didn't ask him, who are they playing?
No, you know what? I was looking at the wrong schedule. I'll be completely honest.
The top two on the list should have been go see my sons play.
Well, we all should go see your sons play.
And watch the Cavs play.
You told me the Cavs are on the road, though, Bull. You gonna fly to LA?
That's bad.
Bull's picking his nose on his screenshot.
Yeah, I know.
This is
that's bad. I'm not actually picking my nose. I'm scratching my nose, but I'm like frozen.
You could have done better. You could have done better.
I got a message from Adam Ostro saying Bull needs a thumbnail. I sent him a thumbnail this morning.
This is his thumbnail. He got one with a thumb in his nail in his nose.
I didn't have time. What was I gonna do?
I just can't you
right in the beginning of the show, I had to go like this real quick. It looks like I'm picking my nose, but I'm actually.
Does.
Listen, I'm not. We've all picked our nose. I'm not going to say I don't pick my nose. In this particular case, I was doing this.
But can't you choose a?
I didn't know how to choose. I don't know how to do that.
What's Booger McFarland's real name?
Anthony.
Okay, but he's cool with Booger.
Yeah, that's bad. Yeah. How did you even come across that?
Because it's right on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show page as I'm talking to people in our chat.
So it's representing us? Oh.
I thought a lot of times when it goes out, it shows the thumbnail instead.
Did you upload the thumbnail? I sent you it this morning.
I think I forgot to upload the thumbnail.
There we go.
Oh, listen. Hey, by the way, look, we have a super chat, man. Stop the Cap says, tell him again, Bull. Once you go black, you can't go back. Right on, brother. Anonymous representative of the black delegation.
That is
Stop
referring,
the cat.
If you're just tuning in now, tuning in now, that is referring to his preference for dark meat in Turkey on Thanksgiving.
He specifically said
just wanted to clear that
he loves dark meat thighs. That's what he said.
I love dark meat thighs.
So, Bull, we are still waiting on Ken Brown to call in here. If you want to shoot him a text and see if he could get in here. But Bull's
probably
4th and 6th grade teacher
or something like that
is not here yet. We will be hearing from him shortly.
Yeah.
Polk, what do you got going on this weekend?
Oh, my gosh. Well, you know what? I was going to say, you guys, we're going to get together and watch the Cavs game on Sunday somewhere. If you guys want to join, we'll talk about it afterwards. I feel like you should go out and see and hang out and watch some basketball with us, Mikey McNuggets. What do you think?
I'm in. Let's do it. It's supposed to be beautiful on Sunday,
Earl, Anthony, anybody wants to join? We're all going to watch the Cavs get their first win against LeBron as a Laker.
Oh, yes.
I can't. I'm actually – here's what I'm doing Sunday.
You've seen your sons play for the
My
third
sons
time.
play the third day in a row. I'm going, right? It's at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
The show on Sunday. So I'm going to have to DVR the Cavs game. I never DVR basketball.
Right.
Because it's, it's not like the Browns where we have to know every detail. But I want to watch this game. So I'm DVRing it. I'm not taking my phone with me to the show.
Right.
I'm going to get home probably about 6 o'clock.
Yep.
And I'm going to pretend that the game is just starting.
So you gotta like try and not listen to anything.
Well, I'm not going to listen to anything. All I'm doing is driving home from the Beck Center in Lakewood to my house.
Right. So, but somebody mentioned something walking outside. All right, what are you walking out of the theater? And somebody's just like, oh, I saw Cavs won by 8.
Yeah, that happens.
I hate that. You got to put headphones on.
I know.
As soon as the show's over.
But it's a lot of artsy.
Yeah, you're right.
People.
They don't know. But it's also.
But it is Cleveland.
And there are a lot of dads there who are forced to go see something.
True. And even in Cleveland, even artsy people.
You know what upset me? I even told Bull. I said to him that I offered to come and see the play. But he said that he doesn't think it's appropriate if I tailgate it. Is that inappropriate to tailgate a child's play at the Beck Center?
It is.
Why? What's wrong with that? My nieces did a lot of theater in like grade school and stuff like that, and that was pretty much the only way I could get through they did a like a musical version of the Ugly Duckling. There was a rap in it. How am I supposed to go into that stone sober? What, are you kidding me? So anyways, he said I can't go and do it, and that's unfortunate. Who's your son playing in it?
He's playing, his character's name is Arsight.
Okay. What's the show?
So the show is like it's Canterbury Tales with like a comedy twist.
Is this a grown-up production with kids in it? Or is this an all-kids production? Oh, it's a grown-up production with kids in it.
I'm sorry. No, it is written for adults originally.
Right.
But it is a all-kids production.
Okay. Oh, okay. Wow, that'll be
he says he's in, Mike.
Do we see him, Steve? We don't see anyone in our system. We see audio. Is that an audio popping up over there?
If you're just tuning in, we are waiting to talk to a school teacher.
No audio, no nothing from him.
Earlier, we were giving Thanksgiving recipes. If you want to subscribe to our sports show.
He says he's in. What do we do? Is the link, should we resend the link or something?
Do you have his email? I can resend him a link, but he is not in.
I texted him the link.
Who's more to blame right now?
Do you want me to text you the link again?
For
Can
this
you
going
text it
wrong?
to him? You have his number, don't you?
The teacher
Yeah,
or the person, the kid, the person.
This is
who
the worst.
the
This
teacher
is the worst
taught.
5 minutes in the history of UCSS,
Well, it's
and I
only-
apologize to anyone out there.
Yeah.
So here's what we'll do. Brad, let me ask you a question.
You guys talk.
Here, you go.
Please,
Here's what we're gonna do. Final takes while we figure out Ken Brown. Excuse me, Ken. If we finish with final takes, we can't get him.
Yeah.
It is a
All
loss.
right,
let's do final takes.
Let's do final takes first, and then we'll come back. We'll flip it.
Are we just flipping like that?
Yeah, we're gonna flip it like that.
Because I was going to ask you, I said, is Kyrie Irving ever going to, is he done with the Nets?
Let's get back. Let's go there first.
Yeah, let's do this.
Hold that final
we can,
take.
We can talk.
No. Hold on. Because if we do Kyrie, then we get Ken Brown. We're never gonna get in anything else. Because Kyrie Irving could be an hour and a half discussion by
We
itself.
can cut it off.
I was going to talk about that too.
We can cut it
Oh,
off.
so everybody wants to talk about it? It seems like we have a topic there.
Well, but then if we get Ken Brown in, we're gonna stop 3 minutes in. We gotta pick one or the other. Because I don't want to cut off Ken Brown early, and I don't want to cut that off early.
Let's talk about Kyrie.
I want to hear this.
Forget them takes.
I want to hear this.
Let's go to this.
Let's talk about Kyrie, and then
Let's
we
go.
can always get to it after. Are you able to figure it out? Do you need my help?
I'm gonna try.
You got his number, right?
I do.
Okay.
All right, so let's start
Yeah.
with first of all, the Brooklyn Nets are a mess. This is a mess, right?
Yeah, I love it.
And Kyrie is the things are going on. Multiple things going on.
Right.
Ownership issues.
Right.
You have the Durant issues. You got used to have Steve Nash. Now you got the coaching change coming. You've got Kyrie out on COVID. He come back.
He had that
You
little
got
party.
Ben Simmons,
It was
Ben
during
Sim-
COVID.
You got the rappers going off on Ben Simmons on Instagram now because like Cameron went nuts on Ben Simmons. Like stop it. Because everybody sees it. This is a mess, right?
Yeah.
But let's get back to your questions. So Kyrie, when he was here, he was a good dude, right?
Yeah.
But Kyrie is really symbolic of what's going on around in this country now. A lot of misinformation, just dumbness. I mean, the takes you have out here, they're not real takes.
They're not even right.
And then you're sitting out here, you quasi disparaging people, but not really owning it. Like, I'm not really doing this. Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
To me, I'm like, why are you dying on this hill? This particular hill.
He talked about it. There's a mentality right now, I think, in this country where people are saying, I have as much right to my ignorance as you have to your to your truth. My made-up truth and my ignorance is my right to have and to present to the world, and it's a defiance when people say, no, you're wrong, even if in their back of their minds they know that you're wrong, they're like, but it's my right to be wrong.
I gave you the facts. I tell you, to the detriment, and I'll say it, to the detriment of this country. You know what's been the detriment of this country as much as it's been good? This thing right here.
Say it.
This thing right here
Say it.
has been to the detriment of many people in this country because it is proven that some people can't process information, fact from fiction. Because sometimes when you see people out here, they funning out here. They're not serious.
They
right?
grifted.
Right.
It's a grift.
It's a grift. It's a grift game.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you're doing out here, right? And some people cannot process that. And they take it as factual, right? And so when you sit out here,
and they weren't presented with that challenge until they had these.
I have hope for all these young people out here, right? And then I watch Kyrie run down these rabbit holes. I'm like, what? It's like you talk about, is the world even round? What are you talking about?
you know,
he's a contrarian.
When you have guys, people like Alex Jones, right?
Grifting.
And you sitting up here saying that it was all a hoax when little kids died.
To retweet anything from that guy.
I don't like saying his name. Right. I'm not putting nothing out. And there's a lot of group, and I'll delve into it because here's the problem. A couple of years ago, we had a lot of players taking stands on Black Lives Matter. Yeah. We had a whole lot of them. They was contemplating in the bubble whether they wanted to play or not.
Right, right.
Now, you can't have it both ways. Either you're gonna have it that way or this way. Because when you start, and he's the head of he was the head of the Players Association. You can't have the head of the Players Association retweeting. This is one-on-one stuff. High school kids that want to get NIL money, it's one-on-one. They know. You don't see C.J. Stroud retweet nothing. You don't see these college, no, because they understand that everything that you put out there is a representation on you, the league, your team, and your family. To be truthful, I'm gonna keep it real with you. My mom told me, and people don't even know this, man. My mom and dad they like, look, if I put out something and it's borderline, like, oh, you going to a person's character, or you trying to be funny, they'll call me and tell me to take it down. If I'm getting too far into in political, where it's like, oh, this is wrong, this individual, this congressman, the president did this, they'll tell me, hey, listen, unless you planning on going to run for Congress after you done with sports, sometimes you got to leave that alone. Don't jump in that. Don't jump in that walk.
Guys, let me jump in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
We got Ken Brown.
Okay, we'll get back to this after. Let's bring in. There, where is he? We got him?
Here he is. We got Bull's teacher.
There he is.
Hey, Ken Brown. Mr. Brown.
Had a little trouble getting through.
That was Mike's fault. Don't worry, we'll blame him. So
it's the education system. It's the education system that's to blame.
That's right. Right. So Mr. It's still weird calling him Ken. It's strange. But Ken Brown was my 4th grade teacher and my 6th grade teacher. He knows he was my favorite teacher. How are you? It's good to see you.
It's great seeing you, Adam. Oh my God, it's been a long time.
It has been. Didn't I come years ago? Probably in my 30s. I came visited your class, right?
You did. You came to school, and I was on luckily on a prep period. And I took you with me, and I walked you around the entire school because, they had made a lot of, renovations to the school, and the cafeteria, which was the all-purpose room, was made into an auditorium. And I took you around, and I introduced you to everybody there, and I told them that you were my student in 4th grade and 6th grade. And then we, I was telling them that you were on, can I say the call letters? Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah.
That you were on WFAN radio, and I told, it was a great. It wasn't just interesting for you; it was great for me because it was just surreal for me to have you come back, and I'm just so proud of you. I just can't even tell you. So it means a lot to me.
Can't get to the good stuff. What kind of kid was Adam?
Yeah.
Let's get down to the dirt.
Okay.
Let's get down to the
I know
facts,
that's
baby.
what you want to know.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that I was. You have to remember now. It's over. He was about, when I had him in 6th grade, he was about 11, 12 years old. Yeah. So I assume it's about 40 years or so.
Right.
Okay. So, but I was going to, his memory really stands out to me. If I had to describe Adam in one word, it would be sensitive. He was a very sensitive kid.
Oh, he right. He still is.
He was sensitive. Right, yeah, he was sensitive, and he didn't take too kindly to criticism. Okay.
Oh no!
Shocking. Yes.
Shocking.
No, but you see, for me, that wasn't a problem. I'm going to tell you a story.
Oh,
that I like this. He knows what I think he might know what I'm.
Is
gonna
this the
say,
Miss Shakatano story?
It certainly is.
Okay, good.
Okay.
It's a good story.
But just before I say that, I want to say this. The fact that you were very sensitive, it didn't play with me. You and I didn't have that dynamic because I made it my business with all my students to try to find one thing about them in their personal life that I could relate to and talk to them and really get to know them. And with you, it was so easy because you loved baseball and I was a passionate, diehard Mets fan. And so talking to you, the only thing I couldn't understand is why you were a Cubs fan. But you explained it to me, but I certainly don't remember that story.
We hate that too. We never understood it either.
I mean, I was talking to him about the Mets, and he's talking to me about the Cubs, But so Adam and I got along famously well because I would always talk to him about baseball. We were bonding. It was just very, very special to me. But getting back to the sensitivity part, Adam, correct me if I'm saying anything that's not accurate, but I forget exactly what grade it was. I think you had told me it was first grade. Okay.
No, the Shakatano story?
Yeah.
No, I think it was in 4th grade. It's even worse because it was the 4th grade.
Oh, it was 4th grade.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened was you must have been with her for something and she got angry at you.
Or maybe it was 5th grade. I don't know.
Who is this?
So she was a substitute teacher, right?
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, now I get it. Yeah.
She was a substitute at the time.
I like how you guys all think we have the backstory and know who Miss Shakatano is.
So Miss Shakatano was a substitute teacher.
Miss Shakatano.
Actually, I won't sing this on the air, but Andy Robbins and I wrote a song about her, by the way.
I remember Andy Robbins.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Andy and I still good friends. He's my oldest friend.
Well,
still good friends.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what happened was I got a call from the office. I was on the 2nd floor, and they said that you were they didn't. I don't know if they used your name or not, but anyway, they said this young boy ran out of the classroom because the teacher had taken his comic book or something.
It was a wrestling magazine.
Oh, a wrestling magazine, right? You were into that, right? And I don't know, they were talking homework or something, and you had your wrestling magazine out, and she took it away from you. And that was fate worse than death to you, okay? having your wrestling magazine taken away. So I get a call from the office, and they said, Mr. Brown, we're sending coverage up to your room. Can you come down to the boys' bathroom on the 1st floor because there's a student in there who won't come out. Now, the specific reason why they called me is because I was the only male teacher in the school.
That's right.
And they didn't want none of the women teachers wanted to go into the boys' bathroom.
Yeah. Nice. So, you found a nice loophole there.
Over the wrestling magazine.
So they called me, they covered me, and I went down to the boys' bathroom. And
the negotiator.
And I saw Adam, and and he was visibly very, very upset.
Well, sure.
I mean, it was clear to me
he
took his wrestling magazine and.
There's a little more to it that you weren't in the classroom when this happened. So what happened is she did take my wrestling magazine, and she wrote my name on it, and I was upset that she wrote my name on it because it kind of tainted it. And
decreases
I kind of
the value.
I didn't mean to, but I kind of went like this, and I hit her hand.
So you struck a teacher.
I struck a teacher. I didn't mean to, and then I panicked. I was like, "Oh my God, I hit a teacher!" And I ran out of the room.
That's like hitting
to the bathroom.
That's like hitting a cop if you're when you're a grown up.
And so Mr. Brown had to get me out.
Yeah.
So
you managed to get me out of the bathroom.
My job was to get you out of there.
Yeah.
So what I did was, first I spoke to you, and I just tried to coax you to come out. Yeah. That did not work very well.
Oh, I don't remember that.
You were having none of it.
First phase of negotiation.
You weren't coming out of it.
Try to talk you
So
out.
then I really had to think fast. What am I going to do? So I thought
you ordered a pizza.
Well, that was the second thing I thought.
That would have worked. That would have worked.
Right.
Yeah.
But what happened was I said to myself, well, I know Mrs. Shacatano, and, you know, she was sort of a friend of mine. And I said, Adam, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will, if you come out with me, I will speak to Mrs. Shacatano, and I will smooth things over for you. I said, she's a friend of mine, and I will talk to her, and I will tell her not to punish you, not to yell at you, not to scream at you, because I knew he was, you know.
So it's like saying I'm friends with the DA. I can get you out in a month.
Ken, this is in Brooklyn?
This is in Brooklyn,
This is in Brooklyn, in
Man,
Manhattan
that's real
Beach.
soft up in Brooklyn. I'm gonna tell you, that's real soft up in Brooklyn. Because my school, they'd have came and got your ass and been like, they were coming out of here. Oh, you coming out of here?
I had to toughen
and
up.
then I'm gonna call your mama.
Yeah, right.
Am I allowed to say the name of the number of the school? Or
yeah, sure.
Okay,
Nobody
this
knows
was
it.
PS 195 in Manhattan Beach in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway,
yeah.
I said, Adam, if I promise you, because you said to me, are you sure that will work? I said, Adam, I promise you that I will speak to Mrs. Shacatano as soon as you come out, and I will smooth things over. And she's a friend of mine, and I'll tell her not to yell and scream at you. Okay? So you thought about it for a few. You didn't do it right away. You thought about it.
Yeah.
Then you came out with me, and we walked back to your classroom.
Right.
And you went in, and I asked Mrs. Shacatano to come to the door. I sure as hell hope she's not listening to this. Okay. So she came to the door, and I explained to her that I gave you my word that you would not. That she would not punish you or yell at you.
See, I got away with it.
Yeah.
My bad behavior.
And
Thank you. You saved me, Mr. Brown.
I tried.
Oh
I mean,
let's give him a hand. You saved me.
I gotta give Ken, Mr. Brown, his negotiation style.
It worked.
Give him an A for effort. But I have to tell you something, Mr. Brown. I have to just tell you something here. We're from a different neck of the woods here. Now, G and I will tell you, it's just like going to the grocery store, G. Remember you go to the grocery store with your parents when you were young?
Yeah.
And you see the other kid cutting up in the grocery aisle. What would happen in the grocery aisle?
Hey, man, boy, you try, first of all, you try to give him your eyes and be like, listen, you tripping out.
Yeah.
I know what's about to come. Don't do that. He don't listen to you, and you get laid down.
Yeah. But I didn't get listen, I was usually a well-behaved kid, was I not?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Get in trouble, really.
But the problem is here.
Yeah.
You
On
came
our side
from
of the tracks. Ain't no damn negotiation going on. We ain't negotiating nothing.
I had it easy. You're right.
It wasn't just Adam that was well behaved. His whole family was very nice. I had his sister Stacy in my class. His sister Stacy was in my class,
and my sister was in the class too.
Not in the same class, but a couple of years later.
Okay, yeah.
And his mom, I remember, open school parent-teacher conference. His mom was very concerned about him. She was his mother was so friendly to me and such a lovely, lovely lady. And she treated me, I was a brand new teacher. I was hot off the presses. That was my very first year teaching in PS 195. Not my first year teaching, but my first year in PS 195. And I wanted to get off to because his mom
already had you settling hostage negotiations.
Exactly.
Crazy. Hey, I gotta ask. When he was in class, was he like the kind of kid who was a know-it-all? Did he ask a lot of questions, or was he quiet at the time?
He was sort of quiet.
Was he? Okay. That's usually how it works. Came out of your shell, huh?
Well, we got to do this, Mr. Brown. We're going to put up the picture. I didn't realize that was your first year at PS 195. It was my first year at PS 195 too. I had moved from Sheepshead Bay after the third grade.
I like that Mr. Brown. I like that you had Mr. Brown's stats up at the beginning.
Yeah, that was good. Did you see your
like
stats?
He was Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, let me see my stats.
His stats are pretty solid.
There's your stats.
Not bad.
Let's see.
Yep. There it is.
I taught in 4th and 6th grade, right?
How many years? How many years did you teach?
I taught, let's see, about 32 years.
Ooh,
and
man,
then
clap it up for that. Give a round of applause for that.
Yeah.
30. Hey,
Young man right there.
Hey, you was lifting, you was hitting some weights back then.
I did. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But we have a picture we teased earlier, Mr. Brown, that we now have to pull up.
This is the 4th grade class photo. Mr. Brown was my teacher, of course. I am in this photo. He knew.
That's right.
I showed this photo to Mr. Brown yesterday. He knew which one was me.
I did.
Mikey guessed it and got it wrong. Can you guys know which one is me?
I gotta get up there. I can't see that.
You gotta get a closer look there.
I'm gonna give a shout out to PS 195 for a little diversity.
We had diversity, right? That was
Hey,
Oh, we definitely had diversity.
Mr. Brown, that was
diversity in the game.
the kid in the back. Wasn't that Nigel Willis?
That's Will Chamberlain.
Was that Nigel?
That is Nigel.
That's Willis
His name
Reed.
was Nigel. His name was
I
Nigel.
can't-
That's a name you don't hear anymore either.
Adam, can I tell you a story about Nigel?
Yeah, let's hear a story about Nigel.
All right.
Yes.
Let me tell you, it was my first year in PS 195.
Yeah.
And Nigel, when I got to the class, the first day in September, kids, and not only the kids, but the teachers were telling me, be careful with Nigel. Okay. Now look at Nigel standing there.
Yeah, he's huge.
Nigel was almost as tall as I think he was taller than me.
I told you that
Okay.
was Willis Reed.
So what happened was Nigel was like he was like in charge of the class. Nobody wanted to mess with him.
No, but I
okay?
became friends with him.
Well, you can't believe what happened to me. So
Yeah.
they were all telling me, Mr. Brown, don't mess with Nigel. So anyway, so what I did was I said to myself, listen, I can't have a kid running the class. I like Nigel. He was really nice.
Yeah.
But so what I did was I took my life in my hands. I took my life in my hands and I put Nigel in a headlock. And I gave him I put my knuckles on his head, rubbing his head. Now, in those days, you could do that. Now they take me out in handcuffs. Okay? Yeah. But I did that, and Nigel thought that was so ridiculous because Nigel could have beat me up in 1 second. He thought that was so funny that he became my protector. Nobody messed with me because if anybody messed with me, Nigel was
in the 4th grade.
Yeah, he was, man. But I became good friends with him, and he was. I don't know what he's up to these days. I haven't seen him, but yeah, we had great diversity.
He's an enforcer for the Colombo crime.
He might be. I don't know
I
what he is.
I found out what happened.
Is he still alive?
Going to bat for him.
It's sort of an unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want me to discuss
don't
it.
tell.
We just got to know him. Don't do that to us.
Unfortunately, we got to go, but I want to see, can you guys guess which one is me?
Right
by Nigel.
Nigel, up underneath, right there.
To the
right.
To the right of Nigel.
You guys got
Let's
it.
see.
Man, I see that. Yep, we did a
That's
DNA
it.
test.
That's it. By the way, that's 2 over for me to the left. That's Joe Solomon that I was talking about.
Joe Solomon.
Sloppy Joe Solomon. We learned all about him.
Yeah.
Joe Solomon, I think, became a police officer.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I guess he
Yeah.
By the way,
the last I
Joe
heard, Joe was a police officer in Brooklyn.
You'll get
The 61st precinct.
Oh, wow. Good for him. By the way, show that big picture one more time.
You'll get these prayer hands.
Here's the girl I had the crush on in the 4th grade. Bring up the big picture one more time.
Oh, man.
Bottom right corner, right? Emily Baum. Ken,
Oh, I remember Emily, yeah.
Bottom
Yeah.
right, that's Emily Baum. Is my crush.
You like the boots?
Oh, I got to tell you one last thing before you go.
Yeah, go quick.
I took my daughter to Cooperstown when she was. This is about 15 years ago, and I took. While I was there, I bought a card showing Ernie Banks' plaque, and I had meant to send it to you. I wanted to send it to you, and somehow it got misplaced. Last night, I searched all over my house. I found it. I have it.
Nice.
This is Ernie Banks' plaque.
There you go.
And I am going to send it to you.
I appreciate that.
Because, Mr. Let's Play 2, I knew you would appreciate it.
Ken,
Very cool.
I'm going to call him Mr. Brown. You were my favorite teacher. You were a great influence on me, and I'm sure you're a great influence on so many kids. Thank you for coming on with us today. It means a lot. I love you.
Thank you
and
for
we'll
your
I love you
next
too.
time I'm in
Thank
town.
you for your 30 years of service to children.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Education.
Nice meeting you,
Thank
Mr.
you,
Brown.
guys.
And way to get him out the
Thank-
toilet stool.
Yeah.
I was soft back in the day. I didn't remember all the details of that story.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We're not getting back to Kyrie. We're going to do it.
We're going to do it as the overtime
I
segment.
don't really want to do it in overtime.
We're doing it as the overtime segment.
Oh, you got to get it. You can't have it both ways.
Can I just say one
That's why
thing?
you got to join.
it's an
You got to
overtime.
join. You got to join.
You gotta
Become a
join. You
member.
gotta
Join.
Make 'em big.
Come on
Killing
over.
me, Mike.
gotta-
I'm not going to do it in overtime.
Got to join.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing in overtime.
All right. Well, anyway, we'll talk to you all tomorrow or Monday. Everybody have a good weekend. There's me in drag. And it's beautiful. I look
Hey,
like
you got a
great
nice
looking
body,
woman.
though.
Yeah, it's not bad. I'm in better shape as a woman. We'll see you on overtime, and we'll see you on Monday, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.